Hook there forming, big mesocyclone, and the time of arrival there for Sentinel is 7:20. It's currently 6:48. So 7:20, Sentinel, Clinton 7:08 for this activity here up toward Burns Flat, Cordell 7:31. Not a tornado warning on it, but it's got a hook. Let's go up here into northern Oklahoma. A bit of a break near Moreland and Sealing. Woodward has some wind damage up here that just occurred. And then further north into Woods County, severe storms here. Let's go to Corey Inman now live up in Woods County. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm on Highway 64 here west of Alva, riding the leading edge of this storm as it moves into Woods County. We did have 65-mile-an-hour winds back at the Highway 64, Highway 14 junction. A lot of heavy rain in there back behind us, but we're right here on the leading edge of it as it moves in towards the Alva area, Mike. Back to you.
So, Corey, you've seen tremendous amounts of rainfall up there in northwestern Oklahoma, now coming into Woods County. A lot of water up there right now.
Yeah, Mike, from Buffalo earlier all the way over here to just west of Alva, it's been torrential rain for about the last 2.5 hours, and there were a couple areas on Highway 64 where there was some runoff starting to come across the road. So with the saturated grounds, flooding is going to become a big issue again tonight, Mike.
Okay, that is very much for certain. Flooding is going to be one of the major issues here as we track this also toward Oklahoma City, folks. You know, ground totally saturated across a good part of the state, and some folks are going to pick up 2 to 3 inches of rain, some cases a little bit more. So remember, there are state roads that in some cases are closed. There's infrastructure damage out there. So certainly stick to the main roads if you can. If you've got to be out there traveling, prefer that you not do it on this Saturday evening. This is a very common scene here. Let's go to Mike Bennett, also up in northwest Oklahoma. Mike, where are you right now?
Okay, Mike, we're east of Moreland. We're just trying to punch through the southern end of this. I've been driving in heavy rain since we left Sharon. We haven't encountered any hail. The main thing with this is going to be the heavy rain and flooding. And the water's piling up in the ditches, not necessarily on 412, but some of the side roads. Water's piling up in the ditches and starting to go under. Mike?
Drop down. Mike, appreciate that. Let's go back over to radar here. So if you're just joining us here, we've had a pretty good ramp up here in the past 15 to 20 minutes or so. Severe storms out here. Peak measured wind gust has been just under 70 miles an hour. Tons of lightning out here. Very heavy rainfall rates. You know the drill. That's what's been happening here for a week or so now. We don't need any of this water, and it is tracking eastward towards central Oklahoma and the metro later this evening, and also northern Oklahoma. And lightning rates are exceptionally high today. There is a hook with, we suspect there may be a tornado warning coming out here pretty soon. It's certainly quite possible coming out of northern Greer County into southeastern Beckham County, and then from there into Ouachita County. So you folks down around Willow, Carter, stay alert. Northwest of Putnam here, wall of water. Southwest of Putnam, a tornado warning there continues. Although the Butler area looks like that's filling in with rain awfully quickly. So this mesocyclone here may be filling in with rain quite quickly. Butler 655 and 722 at Putnam. So severe storm, damaging winds. The rotation rate on that has come down. But where the rotation rate has come up is near Willow. So we're quite concerned about Willow up to Rocky and Sentinel, all right? Right now, this appears to be the most dangerous storm in terms of tornado potential. Willow, Rocky, Sentinel, all right? So let's go with Chris McBee here. Chris McBee now tracking southbound near Burns Flat, and that's a mean-looking supercell down there. Tornado is possible with that. Chris, what do you have?
Yeah, Mike, I'm southbound towards the Rocky Sentinel area right now. That storm should come through, honestly, right through the Sentinel area. I see the hook, hook developing that you're talking about, so definitely heading down towards that area to see if I can get an eye on it, Mike.
So, Chris, can you see, looking down the line there, can you see the lowerings? There's a couple of lowerings tucked in right off the edge of your screen, back down to the southwest of Rocky and Sentinel, back down to Willow. So do you see any lowerings back there?
I haven't seen anything yet. I'm still a little bit too far out. Plus, as you can tell, I'm in some trees right now, so it makes it a lot harder to see. Luckily, I'm out of the heavy rain at this point, so I can make some ground. But no, I haven't seen it yet, but as soon as I do, I will let you know, Mike.
Okay, what's your exact location currently, Chris?
I am, bear with me just a moment here. I'm coming into the city of Burns Flat, I believe.
Yeah, you're practically there. You're closing in, and it's closing in on you. So it's just going to be literally a matter of moments here before you're going to be looking right at that mesocyclone down there. We occasionally are getting a tornado vortex signature with it. So it is quite significant now coming out of the Willow area, and looks to be by far the most tornado possible storm in the state. And that's going to be for you folks down in Greer County, coming into southwestern and western Ouachita counties. So stay alert down in that part of the state. That storm definitely ramping up very, very quickly. Mark Diller joins us now from near Custer City, Oklahoma. Mark?
Yes, Mike, just coming up from the south off of I-40 up to Custer City to intercept this tornado warning cell. As you were saying on radar, it looks like it's filling in, coming down a little bit. So that's news for the folks in Butler, then over to Putnam. I'm going to have to just bump into it, take a look at it, and then get over to Thomas and Spade across the river, and then hook back into it as it's coming across the river over by Oakwood and then up toward Canton. Mike, back to you.
Okay, that is Mark Diller there from near Custer City, Oklahoma. So let's start you off here with the current situation on the watches and the warnings. The tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. That's good news. That's a good trend in the right direction. Going to be allowed to expire north of Butler, Oklahoma. And that is an update for you folks in Putnam and Dewey County and Custer County. All right. Tornado warning has been actually canceled a bit early, but also allowed to expire. So that's good. No longer an active tornado warning there. Severe thunderstorm warnings, Woods County, Waynoka, Alva, Capron, and then far northeastern Woodward County. There's wind damage in Woodward that occurred here just in the past few minutes. And then down through Custer, Ouachita, eastern Roger Mills, eastern Beckham, northern Kiowa, northern Greer. Severe thunderstorm warnings, the green shaded counties, tornado watch, and the blue shaded county, that is a severe thunderstorm watch. It looks like, folks, that the bulk of this is going to be coming right into the metro here at about 9 o'clock. All right, for your timeline at about 9 p.m. Tornado warnings down there in the Texas South Plains right now. So zooming on in, you see the current warning, severe thunderstorm warnings, pretty much a wall of water, a lot of lightning, a lot of water on the roadways, dangerous travel conditions here, and they're moving easterly at around 37 miles per hour, moving fairly fast. And this activity basically is going to come right into central Oklahoma right around 9 p.m. Look at the lightning here, tons of lightning, especially down in Greer County and Beckham County. A bit less lightning up farther to the north in that line. A hook continues down by Willow, tracking that storm carefully. Let's go back over to, let's go up to the northern part of the line here, up around Mike Bennett's territory and Corey Inman. Guys, Mike Bennett, what can you tell us?
Okay, Mike, yeah, same thing, just heavy, heavy rain. We're starting to punch out through the east edge of this. And, Mike, you mentioned lightning. I'll tell you what, lightning has been fierce. We've had 2 strikes very close to pickup. I mean, literally made our hair stand up. It was so close. And so lightning is going to be a definite threat. Flooding rainfall is a major threat on this. And we haven't really encountered any strong winds. Our winds have been about 40 miles an hour as we, drove through the core of the storm. But we're on the south end of the storm. What we're trying to do is get east of it and see if we have any high winds out ahead of it. Mike?
Okay. Let's go to Corey Inman, also in northern Oklahoma, not too far from Alva and Waynoka in Woods County. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm actually coming through Alva now, and I can tell you the leading edge of the very strong winds up here coming into the west side of Alva right now. We had 65-mile-an-hour winds back at 64 and 14, so this has all moved straight east right down 64. So the leading edge of the strong winds coming into Alva, and we're just here on the east side of Alva, right out ahead of this thing, Mike.
Okay, Alva, Oklahoma, right there. There's the Sonic in Alva. Let's go on back to radar here and show you here the line. So severe to the north, severe, potentially tornadic in the central and southern part of this line. This tornado warning has been canceled. So the Putnam area, severe, yes. Damaging winds, yes. But the tornado warning has been canceled. Oakwood, 748. Eagle City at 757. At that point, you're talking about basically Watonga at about 8 o'clock or so, all right? And then down the line here, still a lot of motion here. Let's go to Chris McBee down around Burns Flat. You've got a lot of motion down there in that line.
Yeah, Mike, definitely. I'm going through Dill City right now, just trying to get a little bit further south towards Sentinel, where I can kind of line up with the tail end of this line where the rotation is right now. Looks like the hail is a little stronger down there south of Carter as well. So trying to get to the tail end of this so I can get you a better shot. I'm going through a construction zone right now, so I just don't have much visibility, Mike.
Okay, that's Chris McBee down by Sentinel, Rocky and Sentinel there. Let's go back to radar. There's the view there. Nice stream there just showing up. So a lot of motion there. A lot of wind shear right around Burns Flat. So that's traveling over through Custer County, Ouachita County into Custer County. These really have some damaging winds with measured 65 plus back here in Beckham County. We're showing some pretty good velocity winds here also on the gust front. So everybody ahead of this line, be ready for that 65 to 70 mile an hour wind, torrential rain. Hail sizes are the biggest on the southern part of this line. And the area by Willow there, that still looks quite mean right there in terms of the spin. So we got to watch that very carefully. It's now north of Willow, south of Carter, tracking up toward Rocky and Sentinel and Dill City and Burns Flat. So the southeast corner of Beckham County has a hook with it also near Willow. And Chris McBee is located now very close to that. He's got a visual. Let's go back to Chris. Speaking of visual, he's got to be looking at it just coming around the corner there on the right-hand part of your screen.
Well, and I'm trying to move my camera over into that area, Mike. A lot of what I'm seeing to the right is more kind of a shelf cloud type thing on the front edge of this line. I don't really have any view of the lowering, just if there is one just yet, down by the Willow area, but I'm trying to get south as fast as I can, and I will get you a shot as soon as possible, Mike.
Okay, let's go back over to Mark Dillard. He's very close to Custer City and Clinton here, just right at the leading edge now, that line. An excellent view. You can see the gust front here. You can see that it's very low. A lot of lightning here, and it's had a history of producing winds in the 50 to 65 mile per hour range. In northwest Oklahoma, up closer to 70 miles an hour. Woodward had some damage, but he's got an excellent view right now of the gust front as he comes in from near Custer City, not too far from Clinton. Mark? So you see here the gust front here. This is the leading edge of the cooler outflow coming in, and the damaging wind threat as well. Mark Dillard rejoins us now live. Mark?
Yes, Mike, just to the west of Custer City, coming up to 183 here north of Clinton. And you can see that wall feature there with that lowering toward the center. That's going to be that area of circulation that we want to keep our eye on. But there's also some areas on up the line here that almost have the exact same kind of feature to it as this large shelf, and gust front wraps all the way back around here with this entire line. So gusty winds from the west, heavy rainfall coming this way in a lot of areas that we don't need a lot of rain. We were out here exactly this intersection yesterday in just a pouring rain all the way back into Thomas, and it was flash flooding pretty much within about 10, 15 minutes as soon as it started raining. So just want to warn folks that flooding is a real concern again today. Back to you.
Okay, nice report, Mark. We appreciate that. Look at the rain here, torrential rain. So again, ground is saturated. Flash flood watch continues. Even some lingering flood advisories, and of course a lot of river and stream flood warnings. So some areas here, the way these will line up and train over the same locations over and over again, some areas between Oklahoma City and about Clinton-ish may get 3 to 4 inches of rain just in the next 3 hours or so. So take that into consideration. Obviously, it's going to cause significant flooding once again. Not impossible. The metro gets a lot of rain. A ton of rain, right? Let's go back over again. Mark, you got an excellent view right there. Describe that to us.
Yes, just continue with these small eddies of circulation, not really producing any kind of funnel that I see now. I think that thing kind of got undercut really fast as it was coming over from Butler. So look at this wrapping. Not to let your guard down. Often see these small spinnups along these leading edges, but the rain and the colder air is rushing in as well. So I really have to tell folks, start really wrapping up your plans out in this part of the state. Basically just to the east of 183 because it's coming at you right now. Back to you.
Down to I-40 pretty soon. Notice he's here at 183 and 33 right now. There's your marker. Let's go back to radar. Nice job, Mark. Okay, so down here by Willow, we've got an organized mesocyclone with some pretty tight spin. Little cells keep feeding into the meso, which is keeping the spin from ramping up even more. If that process were to stop, it would have an effort to produce tornadic activity. So this is a storm we got to really watch and track. In fact, that's awfully close to a tornado vortex signature right there. Very, very close. Very close. Let's go over to Chris McBee. That's an organized mesocyclone there. Chris, tell us what you see.
Mike, I'm closing in on Sentinel right now. I'm just a few miles out. I'm going to head a little bit westbound on 55 when I get down there to Sentinel, just to try to get a view on this. As it lifts north of 55, I should have a good view of it from the east as it approaches. I've got to get through some twists and turns here, but here just in a few minutes, I should have you a shot of the area of interest there that we're talking about, Mike.
Okay, so let's go back to radar here. So we don't have any active tornado warnings. However, this is organized rotation here that is quite tight. And this is northeast of Willow. It's turning a little to the right. Let's go over to max 3, and let's do a storm projection on that, Aaron. So we're looking really kind of honing in on that. Let's do a storm projection. Just take that pretty much red line, center line to about Sentinel. Perfect. So 37 miles an hour, 36 miles an hour, Sentinel at 7:35. Current time is 7:05. 7:05, 7:35 Sentinel, 30 minutes. Burns Flat 7:46, Cordell 7:58, Bessie at 8:03, and then from there you're talking Corn Colony, you're talking Sickles, Luqueba, Binger, Hinton, Minko, Tuttle, down the line, basically is where this is heading. It's an organized, strong mesocyclone, organized wall cloud, occasionally trying to get TVSs or tornado vortex signatures out of that. Let's go back over to Chris McBee here looking right at it. No tornado warning right now, but it's not far from it. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, I'm coming into an area here. Can't quite get my camera all the way over there, but I've got a wall cloud with this storm for sure. I'll be turning westbound on 55 here just in a couple of minutes, and I'll be able to zoom in on that and get you a shot. If you bear with me.
Oh, tornado warning now. Tornado warning coming out for the storm at Willow. Tornado warning now in effect. Large funnel cloud. You're coming right around on the side of it right there. You're literally moments away. So let's go back over to max 3. So tornado here, tornado warning. Showing the tight spin there right on the Greer Beckham County line. It's going to go pretty quickly right into Ouachita County. Tornado warning, pretty much red line, center line for Rocky, Sentinel, and Cordell, all right? So heads up, it is the tail end storm. There's not much feeding into it from the south, all right? So it would have the potential to be a well-organized supercell with a well-organized mesocyclone, potentially for a fair amount of time. And after dark, the winds at the surface, just above the surface, will get a little stronger. So again, now we're not going to say this is going to head right toward Oklahoma City, but right now the path is that it's heading right toward the metro, all right? Now talking about 9:30, a lot could change, but that's the trend. That's what the maps are telling us right now. So heads up for that. So we're going to have some severe weather very close to the metro, maybe in the metro in that 9 to 10 p.m. time frame. Tornado warning in effect north of Willow right now, showing a little occasional TVS there with a funnel cloud, organized wall cloud, very low to the ground now coming up on Rocky and Sentinel. Back to Chris McBee looking at it. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, I'm in Sentinel right now. I'm turning west on 55 as we speak. If you'll give me just a couple of minutes here, I will have a shot of that wall cloud that I could see from the road here just a moment ago. So let me navigate through town, and I'll get you a shot here just momentarily, Mike.
Okay, that is a tornado warning now to the southwest of Sentinel. Pretty much red line, center line for you folks in Sentinel. There you are, 44 and 55 right there in Sentinel, America on this Saturday afternoon. And it's down to the west-southwest of Sentinel, moving to the northeast. So Sentinel, certainly you folks pay attention to the weather here going forward as we have this tornadic storm down to the southwest moving directly toward you. And we'll check back here with Chris McBee momentarily. Let's go back over to the watch and warning situation. We have one tornado warning right now. We'll go over to max 1 and check it out. One tornado warning north of Willow heading for Rocky, Sentinel, and Cordell. All right, so heads up for you folks in Ouachita County. It's going to clip southeastern Beckham County, coming out of northeastern Greer County right now. Tornado watch is in green. Severe thunderstorm watch, including the entire metro, in blue. Main threat with the blue shaded counties for the metro, for example, would be hail, wind, and flooding. Hail, wind, and flooding, and a lot of lightning. A little lower tornado threat in the blue shaded counties. Tornado watch meaning a few tornadoes in the green shaded counties. That tornado warning in effect. So basically a wall of water here coming into Alfalfa County, coming into Major County, down to Sealing, down to Tologa, Putnam, severe storms Tologa, Putnam, down to Custer City. Let's go to Mark Dillard. Check back with Mark here near Custer City. Mark? That is Mark Dillard there. He was very close to Custer City there, showing you the gust front. He's looking at it here right now. Hail, wind, a lot of lightning now coming in from the west. Mark, are you with us? So that is Mark Dillard's vantage point from north of Clinton right now. North of Clinton, severe storms here. These have had a history of producing winds 65 plus. And again, a lot of lightning, flooding, rainfall. Some areas between Oklahoma City and the Clinton area here the next several hours may get 4 inches of rain. Max 3, let's go to Max 3. Aaron Brackett here driving this. So let's go to the northern part of the state here with an update for damaging straight line winds, all right? This is coming into Alfalfa County, Burlington, Driftwood, Amarita, Byron, Cherokee, Helena, Goltry, Jet, Nash, Lambert, down Highway 8, down Highway 58. Damaging wind update here. Let's go over to Corey Inman. Corey? Or Mike Bennett, go ahead. Corey Inman, go. Not impossible to have little areas of spin there on that gust front as well. Corey Inman is up there tracking that in northern Oklahoma. So that is for you folks in the immediate Cherokee area for damaging straight line winds. Go, Corey Inman, you there? How about Mike Bennett? All right, there's the view from Corey Inman and Mike Bennett right there. Let's go ahead and go on back to Max 1 again. Let's go back to Max 1. We're going to go from this part of the state back down to the tornado warned storm as well. So we really have pretty much a solid wall of water. Canton, Longdale, back to Oakwood, Fay, and Thomas. Mark Dillard is very close to Custer City right now, north of Clinton. See some pretty good wind there. See that bright red? That's good winds there on the gust front there. It's had a history of 65. It'll be out of the west. No organized mesocyclone activity with that. More of a damaging straight line wind type activity. Still a strong mesocyclone though here coming up on Sentinel. Chris McBee's looking right at that now. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just west of Sentinel watching as this storm approaches. There's several areas in there that look like they could be a lowering. It's a little bit hard to tell. I'm zoomed in as far as I can get on this, but I'm definitely watching this as it approaches. It looks like the police here have walked off part of 55 West as well, so they don't want anybody driving in this area with this thing approaching, but yeah, tornado warning. I've got a wall cloud here, and I'm watching this for lowerings, Mike.
Okay, maybe the best idea here is just stay where you are because it's heading right for you. Got a big wall cloud here, large wall cloud underneath the wall cloud, a lot of scud tags, funnel cloud activity. You can see that right there. Again, Rocky Sentinel, Cordell. Rocky Sentinel, Cordell. Northern Oklahoma up in Alfalfa County on the gust front with the damaging wind. Some tornadic activity possible there now. So you folks want to stay away from windows up in Alfalfa County. Let's go there, talk to our trackers. Back to Chris McBee. It's an angry looking wall cloud there. A lot of lowerings there, a bowl-shaped lowering underneath that wall cloud. So this is dangerous down here coming into Ouachita County. Let's go. Who do we have? Corey Inman, Mike Bennett. Let's go ahead and talk to one of those guys for Alfalfa County right now. Corey Inman, go.
Mike, this is Court. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, I'm just west of Ingersoll here on 64. Area rotation right here over 64 on the leading edge of this. It's tucked just a little bit back in the rain, but there's a lot of spin going on right here over 64, Mike. Just to the west of Ingersoll. Should track to the north of Cherokee. It's almost tracking due east, but we're right underneath it here. If anything happens, we're going to be able to see it.
So that's right where the tornado warning is located, Corey. So you see a lot of spin on that gust front. Is that right?
Yeah, this is actually tucked just back behind the leading edge of the gust front, Mike, maybe a mile, mile and a half, right before all the heavy rain. But it's right here over 64 coming over the top of us right now. Okay, so you folks up there, stay away from your windows for sure. Tracking what appears to be a redeveloping TVS.
west. That's a tornado vortex signature west of Sentinel right now. Let's go back over to Chris McBee on that. Redeveloping TVS, Chris.
Yeah, Mike, I'm watching this real carefully. I'm watching all these lowerings near this wall cloud. I haven't seen anything yet that I would definitively call, a funnel or a tornado, but I'm definitely watching this closely. Several areas of lowerings in there, Mike, for sure.
Okay, it looks like it's turning right. It looks like it's also turning to the right. So that's going to be Rocky Sentinel. May go to the south of Cordell. Godebo, Highway 9 corridor. You folks, heads up. Godebo, Mountain View, Carnegie, heads up for you because it's turning pretty hard to the right now as that rotation picks up. So, Chris, right now, occasional funnels under that, but no tornadoes. That, from your vantage point, is that what you see?
Yeah, from my vantage point, I've not seen anything I would definitively call a tornado. Maybe some funnels in there, but nothing on the ground from my vantage point, Mike. Okay,
you have got an excellent vantage point of it, and it is it's a good size area of rotation there for sure, quite low to the ground. Let's go back up to Corey Inman. We see that spin, Corey, north of Cherokee, really high velocity wind as well. Looks to be about 80 plus on the wind, and a leading edge gust front tornado trying to form north of Cherokee. What do you think?
Yeah, Mike, I'm right here just to the north of Cherokee, probably 7 or 8 miles, right here on 64. That area of rotation is coming right down 64 and just to the north of Highway 64. So this is going to pass between Cherokee and Burlington. But there's a lot of rotation in here tucked back just behind the leading edge of this gust front, Mike.
Okay, let's go over to Max 1 control room. Max 1, we'll show you where that is. It's this little area spin right here northwest of Cherokee, just to the south of Burlington, all right? Driftwood, Burlington, Amarita, Waukeeta. Amarita, Waukeeta, stay alert there. This little spin right here north of Cherokee, south of Burlington, 80-mile-an-hour winds or so, high-velocity winds. Make sure you stay away from windows ahead of this. Alfalfa County over into Grant County, Amarita, Burlington, north and near Cherokee to Waukeeta into Grant County. It looks like about 80 or so. Tornado warning also in effect, a little leading edge. QLCS or gust front tornado. They can be, they can be F1, F2 tornadoes. So that's got a high velocity wind. Looks to be every bit of 80. Checking back with Corey here on that. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm still here just to the south of it, looking directly at it. Don't see anything on the ground. May have had a funnel just a few minutes ago, but it's since dissipated. Like I said, it's just to my north here, looking out my left window. Nothing on the ground, but we're going to track it here to the east as it heads over towards Waukeeta.
Okay, let's go back over to Max 1. And on Max 1 here, you see the spin there near Burlington, spinning up even more. So a leading edge gust front tornado here does look quite possible, if not likely. It'll be a fast mover, moving 40, 45 miles an hour, surrounded by winds 80 plus. Right, very small circulation, but it's tight. Burlington, Cherokee, tracking to the east toward Waukeeta. So pretty quickly here through northern Alfalfa County. Let's go ahead and take a look. There's the spin right there, just south of Burlington, just north of Cherokee, damaging winds all along that. Let's go to Chris McBee, and let's go to Jeremy Carter now. They're back down on that storm coming up on Rocky and Sentinel. Go, Jeremy.
Yeah, Mike, this wall cloud is just dragging the ground. I have yet been able to make out a centralized point where it looks like a tornado is trying to form. But, man, I'm right under this thing, Mike. If you're underneath this, that cloud is no more than maybe 400 feet off the ground, if even that. There's places that this wall cloud looks like it's scraping the ground, Mike. Back to you.
Hey, I like that. Rocking G show pigs. Bob and Cindy's place. They need to make sure those show pigs are safe. There you go. That's Oklahoma right there for you. Angry looking wall cloud, tornado warning in effect at the Rocking G Ranch out there, Bob and Cindy's place. You all know where that is? That's what's going on. Let's go to Chris McBee looking at that also. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, just keep an eye on this wall cloud. It's very low to the ground, like Jeremy just said. Occasionally you see a little formation that looks like it might be a funnel, but then it dissipates pretty quickly. So definitely nothing of huge concern right at the moment, but definitely watching this as this is rotating pretty quickly, Mike.
So look at the tail cloud here, right? Look at the tail cloud coming in. This is a beaver tail coming in. feeding into it, feeding into it, feeding into it, and then right there, that's the mesocyclone. That's the tornado warning down here coming out of Willow. Rocky Sentinel, pretty long beaver tail there coming into it, feeding in right now. Let's go back over to Max 3. Let's go to Max 3 and check it out. So pretty much we see on radar what we see from our multiple trackers streams here. Big mesocyclone here that has not tightened up into a tornado, all right? But it is coming into the old Retrop area and then Rocky and Sentinel. So it's now moving a little more to the northeast again after turning to the right. So still red line, center line for Rocky, Sentinel, and could be Cordell. You folks along the Highway 9 corridor, though, stay alert down here as well. Mountain View, Godebo, Carnegie, stay alert. And then from there, we're going to be talking about Eakley, Sickles, Luqueba, Oklahoma, over toward Foss Lake in Caddo County. Let's go back to Chris McBee looking at it. Big mesocyclone, we see that for sure. Not tightening up right now, except what you're showing us right there. What is that?
Well, I've had several areas of rising scud in here. That may just be some scud on there. It's kind of hard to tell from this distance.
It's changing
I can't definitively say that that's a funnel, but
it's changing shape really fast, Chris. It's changing shape awfully quickly. Really changing shape very, very quickly there. That little funnel cloud thing there kind of vaporized and fed back up into the middle of the mesocyclone. Changing shape very fast. So the tornado warning definitely continues here. Go, Chris McBee.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely changed shape very quickly. I've had several areas of rising scud coming up into this, so this definitely has the ability to put down a tornado. I'm glad that it hasn't yet, but if it does, I'll definitely have eyes on it here, Mike.
Okay, let's go back over to Jeremy Carter, double tag team on this. Go, Jeremy. Jeremy Carter, go. Let's take Jeremy.
Yeah, Mike.
Go.
Yeah, Mike. A lot of raising scud, a lot of motion. This thing is very low. The motion is very visible now to my eyes. I can see a lot of movement. This is pretty close to producing. If any of this can get localized, Mike, it wouldn't shock me if something didn't try to go down here really quick. Mike, back to you.
Okay, let's go back over to Max 1. Let's go back over to Max 1 here and check it out on 1. So here's northern Oklahoma. We're going to revisit this tornado warning up north. The Burlington area, Cherokee, north of Cherokee, damaging straight line winds, tornado warning here. Corey Inman is right there. Go, Corey.
Yeah, Mike, I'm 4 miles northwest of Cherokee, giving you a shot back to the northwest. You can see you're looking right into the area of rotation here. The left to the center part of the screen here has gotten lower the last couple of minutes. Haven't seen a funnel out of it, but this area is trying to spin down here just to the northwest of Cherokee.
Seen any indication of those really high velocity winds, Corey? It looks like those things are running out at 75 to 80.
We've stayed out ahead of the wind, Mike, since back west of Alva, but back west of Alva we did have 65. So there's no doubt there's at least 60, 65 in there, if not higher.
Man, Oklahoma can't get a break. So much wind, so much heavy rain, flooding, flood advisories, torrential rain here, a lot of lightning. Tornado warnings up here in Alfalfa County, fast-moving gust front. Corey, stay ahead of that because it's really rocketing across Alfalfa County right now. Let's go back over to Doppler here on 1. Still a gust front QLCS tornado right there. Now southeast of Burlington and almost due north going up Highway 64 there. Corey, where are you from Highway 64 there north of Cherokee? It's crossing the road right now.
I'm right here 1 mile west of that intersection, Mike, looking north. And that's the area spin that I was showing you. It's getting ready to cross the highway up there now.
It's definitely has definitely stayed consistent in indicating a leading edge tornado there. 80-mile-an-hour straight line winds as well. So stay away from windows up there. The wind will be strongest out of the west. So stay away from those west windows. Alfalfa County, then heading into the Wakita area in Grant County, west of Pond Creek, west of Medford, heading your way next in Grant County. Winds could be 80 miles an hour here. And Corey Inman looking at it, tornado warning in effect. He doesn't see any tornado on that gust front. Somewhat similar to what we had last night in Oklahoma City. Somewhat similar to what we had last night in Oklahoma City. These little fast-moving, little local spins of tornadoes coming through. Let's go back down to Max 3, and from Max 3, so there is the spin, clearly, right there. It's been pretty much there for 15 minutes now. Byron, Wakita, Tons of spin in the atmosphere up here, so you got to watch out for these really high velocity damaging winds. There's a lot of spin up here in Alfalfa County and Grant County, so stay alert. The line is moving very fast. Tornado warning in effect for that area right there. Coming up on Byron, near and just maybe on the south side of Byron, just minutes away. 7:30 for Byron, 7:24 right now, 6 minutes. Manchester 7:57, Wakita 8:04. 8:04 or so. Let's go ahead and walk on down to the southern. Let's walk on down around Custer City, Aaron, and then from there we're going to talk to Mark Dillard, where he's going to shift radars here. And here's the Sentinel area. Still a large mesocyclone there that refuses to want to tighten up. Is that Frederick? Is that Frederick? That's Frederick. Okay, let's go to Chris McBee looking at that. Chris.
Yeah, Mike, not much change here in the past few minutes. It looks like it tried to form another wall cloud there briefly, but that's kind of fallen apart. Definitely not tightening up to the level I would be real concerned about a tornado being on the ground, from at least visually. But definitely watching it, and I'll let you know if anything changes.
Okay, that's the update there for the Rocky Sentinel area. So let's show you the future rainfall totals here. Flooding is going to be one of the major problems here. Again, this is a computer estimate. It's not going to be the gospel, but it's going to be pretty close. In many areas, it's going to be close, and there's some huge numbers here. This is from now until late tonight and tomorrow morning. Most of this is going to be this evening. Hinton area, and this looks to be about right. Northern Caddo County, back toward Weatherford, 4.5, 5 inches of rain. That could verify. And then notice that it also goes into Kingfisher, and it goes into the metro there with a lot of widespread 1/2 inch to 2 inch totals in the metro, and 2 to 3 inch totals up potentially near Kingfisher. And keep in mind, Kingfisher last night had 3.5 inches of rain. It would just be complete total insult to injury as far as rain. So this is going to continue to cause these major, major problems. Let's go back over to Chris McBee, get an update here on that tornado warning down southwest. A lot of low wall cloud there. It's having trouble getting anything tight, though, Chris.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, Mike. It's really not tightening up. It looks just like an area of some broad rotation. Occasionally you get what you're seeing right there. You'll get some lower areas with a lot of movement in them and some rising scud. But it definitely has not tightened up into what I would call anything tornadic at this time. But you know how these go. They can change very quickly. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on this, Mike. Thank you.
Sure are. Nice job. Big wall cloud. The one thing we will note here, the scud underneath that wall cloud is changing shape pretty quickly. It tries to form into a funnel, and then it lifts up into the wall cloud. And you've seen that happen again, right? It's already happened many, many different times. Chris is on the west side of Sentinel, looking to the west-southwest. Let's go back over to Max 1. Tornado warning continues, and I'll tell you what, let's go back over to 3 with Aaron. Let's go to 3 on that, Aaron. There's a lot of, we need to kind of wait and see what's going to be going on right here, because that looks, there's a lot of folding, what we call velocity folding in there, but there might be a little contamination to the data. However, with that being said, that looks to be extremely strong. You might measure that shear there across that mesocyclone. That looks like a tornado right there, folks. On the west side of Sentinel. Yeah, 148 gate to gate. That would be tornado right there. That looks like a tornado right there on 55. Let's go back over to Chris. Jeremy Carter in the queue as well. Get Jeremy in the queue. That looks like a tornado right there. I'm a little shocked there's not one on the ground looking at that velocity data. We'll see if there's any contamination to the data, but that was an extremely strong velocity signature, what's called gate to gate, right next to each other, toward and away, indicating tight spin. We'll see if that blocky looking lowering, Chris, makes an effort to produce a funnel cloud or more, because it's going to town here on radar.
Yeah, I'm watching it too, Mike, on the velocity. Definitely a lot of rotation in this. I think it may maybe rotation directly west of Sentinel as well. So I need to watch right here in front of me as well. But give me a minute and I'll readjust and see what I can find, Mike.
Yeah, a little data contamination, it looks like, from the Frederick NexRad. So we've seen that for 2 scans now, so the velocities may not be quite as high. Jeremy Carter is underneath that. So let's get a ground truth from underneath the mesocyclone. A little data contamination there, it looks like. Looks like it's kind of congealing over here. Got a little wrapping gust front here coming around. On the center right-hand part of your screen, Jeremy, talk about that spin right there.
Okay, it did come down. It is something I'm watching, Mike. One of the things that where I'm sitting and where I'm located, one thing that you need to know is that I've got cold outflow winds hitting you. And a little bit ago, when I was a little closer to it back west, I had the same thing. We had a surge of south winds that hit me actually really hard, probably 50 to 60. And I wound up picking up and moving back, maybe east a mile, maybe two. And I've been watching it. So I don't know what the winds are doing just to my west. I don't know if that's actually getting a hold of the rich air, Mike. Back to you.
Okay. Let's go back over to max 3. And Aaron, if you would, tilt up a little bit on the beam, and let's see what the mesocyclone does on 3, max 3. Yeah, so the area there west of Sentinel, still a strong mesocyclone for sure. We're taking the beam and tilting it up inside the mesocyclone and looking at it. Still a strong mesocyclone for sure. Go over to the Twin Lakes there and check out what it looks like from Twin Lakes. So it's more moderate in intensity there from Twin Lakes. Still pretty strong, but more moderate in intensity. Now crossing out of Beckham County over into Ouachita County. So the Frederick next rad here. Got some data quality issues perhaps with that because that looks like a serious tornado right there. Not as strong from the Oklahoma City next rad. It's moderately strong from Oklahoma City next rad. That's crazy strong there on the Frederick next rad. So let's go back over to Chris McBee. Chris, describe the trend here, right? The tornado warning continues. Do you see any localization there and any of that spin?
Not at this time, Mike. I really don't. A few minutes ago, definitely saw some areas, lowerings and what, might be a little funnel, little fingers coming out of there. Haven't seen that in a few minutes, though, but this is drawing closer to me, so I should get a better look at it. Occasionally you see something small below the base, something that looks like it might be, and then it dissipates fairly quickly, so I think it was just scud.
Point directly down
nothing major.
Point directly down the highway for us here. Point directly down the highway. Are you on the highway right now? Point directly down the highway, due west. Let's look at that.
I'm looking due west now.
Looking due west now. Okay. So the center of the spin then is going to be right here. If Chris is looking due west, the center of the spin is right there. So that's the continued tornado warning there. Let's go back over to max 3, and Jeremy Carter's underneath it. So here's northern Oklahoma. Okay, now we're going to go back down to Clinton, so not a real problem, some damaging winds. Severe thunderstorm warning for Weatherford now. So winds 65 to 70 all along the line. And still looking at the mesocyclone here, looks like it does have a gust front going down on the south side of it. The spin's trying to lift a little more to the northeast, so now it looks like it may go over and north of Sentinel the way it's going right now. So up toward Highway 152, is where that is tracking now, and it is not as tight as it was from the Frederick next rad, but still the tornado warning very much continues in effect. Let's go back over to intensity display. And let's kind of back out of this and give you an overview here. So that does not look as ominous as it did earlier, but still the tornado warning does continue. So little ways to the northwest of Hobart there. A lot of rain up through Clinton. Let's go to Mark Dillard. He's near Clinton right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings now all the way coming out to Weatherford. Wind 65, 70 miles an hour, and torrential flooding, rainfall. Flooding is going to be a biggie here, folks, going forward, especially out around Clinton, Weatherford, then toward El Reno and Kingfisher. Go Mark Dillard.
Yes, Mike. I'm just coming through Thomas now, and still have these eddies of circulation here. One actually with a pretty well-defined funnel feature. Let me just get ahead here and kind of get turned back around where I can get a little better shot of it. But these things will be going on throughout the cycle of this storm here. So bear with me 1 second, Mike. I'm just trying to negotiate a better turn-off spot here. Had a lot of rain out here through the last couple of days, so roads are pretty muddy. Just finding a good spot to pull off here. Let's see.
There he is. Okay, so yes, funnel cloud near Thomas right now. And he's going to show it to us, Mark is, as he swings around. There it is. Funnel cloud near Thomas. So, Mark, describe this to us here. We've got a multiple cross confirmation on this. Funnel cloud near Thomas. You're looking right at it. That's plenty angry right there, and we see that spin going on. That's near Thomas, Oklahoma, folks.
Yes, Mike, and like I said, we've had numerous sightings of small funnels coming and going as come along with this leading edge of this gust front here. These are not out of the ordinary, but, they can kind of tighten up and spin down. They lift up and down very quickly, so we're going to continue to watch this. I'm just to the east of Thomas now. Mike, back to you.
I got to say that I'm impressed here at the number of areas of spin that we're getting on the leading edge from Fairview to north of Cherokee, back down to Thomas. This is Thomas, Oklahoma right here. And look at the rotation. Look at that. Not only is it rotating, it's lifting and rotating, lifting and rotating. Can you see this is coming around here, this is coming around here, and it's lifting right up in it. And Mark, it is getting lower. It's getting lower here with time.
Yes, Mike. The problem is we're about to be occluded with rain, and that's the next issue you deal with tracking these is it doesn't take long for them to occlude in rain. So I'm going to stay with it as long as I can here on the front edge. But I have basically the same feature back to my south as this bow section comes around here, just basically over the Thomas area. Back to you.
Yeah, but check this out. Look at this. See this wall? Look at this wall right here, right? The wall comes down, and on the back of that wall, where it's feeding in from the core, this is all feeding this way, and it spins, and then it goes up this wall right here. So this is really pretty close to a funnel cloud, and little elements come down here and try to reach down toward the ground. So damaging winds in here certainly likely, but that wall is an impressive feature right there. Okay, Mark, stay with that. Let's go over to Mike Bennett near Fairview. There's some spin right around Fairview, Oklahoma right now, and man, you're in the thick of it, Mike. Look at that rain. Good grief.
Yeah, Mike, Fairview just got put under a tornado warning right here. We've been getting 60-mile-an-hour winds out of the west for about 5 minutes, and it's so there's going to be some damaging winds already. It's already happened. There's going to be damage at Fairview, but right now we're looking for just lost electricity, and so the winds are just howling right here. We're looking for anything swirling. The winds have been pretty much directly out of the west since we've been here. And so we're kind of just waiting for a shift in wind direction that would indicate a tornado on the ground. But right now, I don't see anything. We're just in the middle of heavy, heavy, blinding rain. Well, I'm going to drive down Main Street, Mike, and, I'll tell you what, I can't even see to drive. I don't believe I will do that.
Yeah, the circulation now looks like it's on the southeast side of Fairview or right over Fairview. What's your wind direction right now?
It's out of the west, and it's been pretty much steady out of the west, and that's what I'm watching for, is shifting winds on the surface to indicate a tornado somewhere nearby. But it's just been pretty much directly out of the west. But we're probably getting 70-mile-an-hour gusts at least, and maybe higher than that. And, in fact, I'm looking at some trees right now. I wouldn't be surprised we're not getting 80-mile-an-hour gusts. But Fairview is definitely out of power right now. Power poles are just swaying back and forth. Some of the street signs are just bouncing up and down like they're getting ready to be blown over. And so I'm just going to sit right here. I can't see to drive, so I'm just going to sit right here and see what kind of happens. We're just going to ride this out with the residents of Fairview. Mike?
Okay, winds of 80 or so. That's on the back side of that circulation. That's on the back side of that circulation there on the southeast side of Fairview. So you kind of get the idea here of what we have going on. There's a lot of little leading edge gust front efforts at tornadic activity. And even if you don't get a tornado, you're going to get winds of 80 miles an hour in localized areas, maybe a bit more than that, folks. It would be impossible to get higher amounts than that in terms of wind. It's fairly similar to what was going on last night in Oklahoma City, where we had these little tornadoes come through. So let's go back to the big view here. If you want, guys, if you feel free here, we can go over here to chroma key at your leisure here, and we'll go over to the chroma key from the big board here and just take the whole thing full. And let's go ahead and show you on the overview here what we have going on. We've got tornado warnings here for northern Alfalfa, tornado warnings southeast side of Fairview. Mike Bennett's got 80 or so. Power lines are swaying, trees are swaying. Tornado warning with a supercell and one heck of a hook down here by Sentinel and Rocky, all right? So this line, flooding business here, and it's going to be coming right into Oklahoma City. There's going to be tons of rain here ahead of this line. We're talking about northern Caddo, central and southern Blaine, Canadian, Kingfisher, likely Logan and Oklahoma counties. A wall of heavy, heavy water, flooding rain. Local rain totals, we could see a few folks get 4 inches plus, and it trails all the way back down into the Texas South Plains. This is all heading for the metro here around 9 o'clock for Oklahoma City. Got to go back to Chris McBee and Jeremy Carter. A lot of spin down there with that tornado warning coming up on Rocky and Sentinel. Chris?
Yeah, I'm still watching it, Mike. The tornado sirens were going off in Sentinel, but they have since stopped. Do you know if this tornado warning is being allowed to expire? I'm surprised the sirens went off or stopped working there in Sentinel. I'm not sure. There's also quite a couplet to my northwest as well that I'm kind of concerned about. So I may get a little bit north as well. If you'll let me know what you're seeing there on the radar.
Okay, so the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire for Alfalfa County. So it's going to be allowed to expire for Alfalfa County. But the hook is quite impressive there coming up on Sentinel right now. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Yeah, still a really, it's tucked up to the northwest, Chris. You're going to want to go up to back up to the Burns Flat and then go over to Cordell because it's lifting quickly. It's lifting quickly up to the northwest right now. That tornado circulation, still a tornado very much indicated on radar. Let's go back over to, yeah, it's back up to the northwest is where it is. It's back up in through here. You're going to want to go ahead and make a beeline right now and get on up there to 152 and then get over to Cordell. Let's go over to Jeremy Carter. Look at Jeremy Carter's vantage point. This is down in southwest Oklahoma. And Jeremy, again, the circulation, the tornadic circulation is back up to the northwest. The whole thing spun around on itself, so it lifted up to the northwest. Do you see that right there?
Most definitely, Mike. It actually looked like it intensified when it did that. I got caught back around in the wraparound. Strong inflow now. Strong inflow. Rain's wrapping around the circulation on the south end, and I'm having to get back east. I'm going to go to Rocky and then try to jog it back up north. Mike, back to you.
Okay, what's your location right now?
I am about 4 miles west, maybe 3 miles west of Sentinel.
All right.
If that.
All right, let's go back over to Max 1, and here's what we have going on right now. All sorts of water here. Flash flood warnings going back into effect. We've got several tornado warnings. The one for Alfalfa County is going to be allowed to expire. Let's check with Corey Inman on that. Tons of lightning here as well. The most vicious part of the line is going to be heading toward the metro here at about 9 o'clock, folks. Hour and 20 minutes away. Corey Inman up around Cherokee. Go.
Yeah, Mike, I'm southwest of Waukeeta here, looking back to the northwest, and that area of rotation is still persistent in there. It's not as strong as it was back to the west of Cherokee and when it crossed there between Cherokee and Burlington, but still there, and we're out ahead of it, looking right at it. So if anything happens, we'll let you know, Mike.
Alfalfa County tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. Let's go back over to Max 1. And so northern Alfalfa is going to expire. 80-mile-an-hour winds with a tornado warning for the southeast side of Fairview, and a lot of wind up there, damaging winds, and then a wall of water with a couple of areas of spin near Thomas. Mark Dillard's been on that. Let's check back with Mark Dillard. He had an excellent vantage point a few minutes ago of some spin there, now to the northeast of Thomas. Mark?
Yes, Mike, just continuing over toward the Fay area, I'm going to go ahead and have to cross the river. Road option running out really fast here, so I'm about to cross the river and get on the other side and take this thing over the Canadian River here, just to the northeast of Thomas. But we continue with these slow drifting eddies of circulation that will occasionally produce funnels that don't last very long. But I've not seen anything in complete contact with the ground, Mike, or imminent spin up on radar that looks like it's really going to get big, bad, and nasty. But they won't take much to really get one to spin down. You should have a localized damage area, maybe some poles down or tree damage, or if it hits a structure, you could have something halfway serious. But these are short-lived and they don't last very long, and they're as darkness comes down, they're going to become more difficult to track at night. We're just trying to watch these bowing segments, the notches and the bow fronts there, where the winds kind of compress down and start to turn on themselves. Back to you.
Okay, excellent report there. So we really have kind of two different types of tornadoes here possible. The kind that Mark Dillard was just talking about, a lot like what we had in the metro last night. But then we have a supercell down here to the northwest of Sentinel and not too far from Cordell. That is a different animal there. The tornado warning is going to be extended for that. So let's go ahead and go back to Max 1 and show you again the broad view here. Again, the most intense part of this line is going to be coming right into Oklahoma City, all right? So I would be of the opinion to give the advice here that you don't go out there and run around and all this at about 9 o'clock. Because if this intense part of the line comes into the metro about 9 o'clock, it's going to swamp the roads. And computers here are indicating some 3 and 4 inch rainfall totals cranking out of this in the next couple of hours between here and Clinton. So we're talking about Caddo County, far northern Grady County, Canadian County, El Reno, Yukon, Kingfisher County, Okarche, Kingfisher, Logan County, Guthrie, Lake Lottawatta, Cedar Valley, Oklahoma County, War Acres, Bethany, Edmond, Deer Creek, Edmond, and it may just ride right from downtown, about downtown northward, the way it looks right now. But the most intense part of that line, it looks like it's going to come right into Oklahoma City. Again, your timing on that is beginning at about 9 o'clock. So you see the tornado warnings here. The one in Alfalfa County is going to be allowed to expire. Damaging winds around Fairview. Tornado warning extended down southwest of Clinton. This is for Ouachita County and one big-time supercell down there. The rest of these are more of those leading-edge, smaller tornadoes, fast-moving tornadoes encompassed in damaging winds. Let's go back over to Chris McBee. Again, the strong circulation now at about 152 west of Cordell. Chris.
Yeah, Mike, I'm kind of in that area right now, just watching this whole area of circulation. Still haven't seen anything that I would definitely call a funnel, but it's definitely very low to the ground in here, and one could happen at any time. So people in this area, don't let your guard down and seek shelter here in this area because it could happen at any time, Mike.
All right. Flash flood warnings going out now for the entire west. For the entire west and northwest metro. Flash flood warnings going out until almost 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. Let's go back over to radar here and take a look here. So all this is going to be coming into Oklahoma City. The supercell still looks tornadic here. Now very close to 152. Let's go to Jeremy Carter. So the spin is now almost up to 152. Jeremy, tell us exactly where you are and what do you see?
Okay, Mike. So I'm 3 miles west of Rocky, and you might find this interesting. I just hit a boundary or something on my windshield fogged over. I think we was undercut by cooler air. I'm not sure that ain't going to get back a hold of some good air here real soon. And I'm fixing to go north towards Cordell, probably within the next 3 miles. I'll be northbound towards Cordell, Mike. Back to you.
Okay, so heads up Burns Flat, heads up Cordell. It's lifted a little bit more here to the north. Let's go back over to the velocities here on Doppler on 1. And we can show you here the center of that spin there, still quite tight. It's got a gust front coming down from there down to west of Sentinel. Could be damaging winds easily along that. But the tornadic circulation there is now coming into Dill City. Coming into Dill City right now, tornado warning does continue in effect. So Dill City, maybe up to Burns Flat, over to Cordell. So Dill City, Burns Flat right there. Tornado indicated about 1.5 miles on the south side of 152 to the west of Dill City. Let's check back with Chris McBee on that with a live report. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, I am just almost right ahead of this couplet. I'm watching it very closely. I'm approaching Dill City right now. I'm going to head east over towards Cordell as soon as possible. Definitely have some areas of interest here. Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera positioned around here where you can see. But yeah, definitely very low to the ground in places. I'm just trying to get out of here ahead of it. And, I'll let you know what I see when I get a little further up, Mike.
You're doing a great job, Chris. So here's the gust front, and the mesocyclone is right there on the edge of the screen there. You saw it clearly as it was kind of wrapping around. That is it. And then we have this damaging wind, torrential rain, large hail. Winds could be in the 80-mile-an-hour range very, very easily. Let's go back over to Corey Inman. We're going to go back to northern Oklahoma, all right, up in Grant County. A lot of spin up there, a little leading edge gust front type tornadoes with an update. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, here just to the southwest of Waukeeta. Been watching this area right along the leading edge of this gust front as it moves from Alfalfa into Grant County. And the area of rotation that we were watching that was tornado warned has dissipated quite a bit here in the last 10 or 15 minutes. But we're right here tucked under the leading edge of it. Like I said, just southwest of Waukeeta, moving off to the east. So if anything does reorganize here, Mike, we'll be right here with it.
Okay. Still looks like you're doing a nice job staying ahead of it, Corey. I'll tell you that. Let's go back over to radar here, and we're going to kind of go back down here to the Dill City area. This is going to be to the south of Clinton a little ways. So tornado indicated just south of 152. There may or may not be another area of circulation forming on the southeast flank. But that is a tornado warning there, okay? So this is north of Hobart and to the south of Clinton and to the west of Cordell. Severe thunderstorm warnings all along this line. Tornado warning continues. Still looks to be a tornado on the ground back in there. And that is going to be on the south side of 152 west of Dill City. So tornado precautions here. Dill City all the way up to Burns Flat. Cordell at 813 at 750 right now. 750, 813 Cordell, Dill City, basically right about now. Tornado precautions here. Remember, trailers, temporary buildings, mobile homes are not safe in tornadic wind. That is a supercell. No sign that's going to go away anytime soon. It does have a few cells feeding into it, which may try to disrupt the mesocyclone, but it may not. And all along this line, damaging winds, flooding, rainfall, and intense lightning. Binger at around 9 o'clock, and then Okarche at about 9 o'clock. So you're looking at the West Metro here at about 9 o'clock, and then 9:15 to 10 o'clock. West to east for Oklahoma City, a flash flood warning is already out for the entire west and northwest metro, and it easily could be extended to include Oklahoma City. Let's go back over to Mike Bennett on this damaging wind near Fairview. He had an 80 earlier on the backside of a tornado circulation, which is now east of Fairview. Go, Mike Bennett.
Okay, yeah, Mike, we drove around Fairview quite a bit. There's a lot of street flooding. A lot of the side streets are over the curbs. Main Street itself runs, I think it's Highway 58. It's mostly underwater. I mean, it's passable, but there's places where it's 4 to 6 inches deep, and so we found one large tree that was blown over, and a couple power poles that were leaning very heavily. But for the most part, it looks like it's not any major damage at Fairview. But that wind was, I'm thinking it got up to 70, 80 mile an hour sustained winds for several minutes. So we're going to make our way east. I'll tell you this, Mike, Ringwood, Lahoma, Enid, Mino, you need to brace yourselves. This is a very, very powerful storm moving your way.
Yep.
Mike.
And then from there to your hometown, potentially of Enid. So it's heading your way as well. So, Mike, are you eastbound right now out of Fairview? Is that where you are?
Yeah, Mike, we're going north down. We're going to go back down 412. Try to get back around on the front side of it. Okay, 412, of course, which goes into Lahoma and Enid. So that's Mike Bennett. Let's go up the line, back up to Corey Inman. Let's go back up the line into Alfalfa and Grant counties. Corey's pretty close to Waukeeta right now. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, still here southwest of Waukeeta on Highway 11. Tracking right along the leading edge of this thing, keeping an eye back to the northwest here, just to the north of 11. Like I said, the area of rotation that we were watching has diminished quite a bit. There's still a lot of heavy rain and strong winds back behind us moving into Grant County. Should be affecting the Waukeeta area here pretty quick, and then on over towards Medford as it moves further to the east. But like I said, we're right here on the leading edge, and if anything happens, we're going to know it because it's going to happen right here in front of us, Mike.
Grant County right there. Corey Inman. Let's go back to radar and show you what we have going on right now. So here's Fairview. Storms have passed Fairview. Wall of water, Ringwood, Lahoma, Ames. Severe thunderstorm warnings all the way into Lahoma, Hillsdale, Carrier, North Enid, Wacomas, Barr, Bison, up toward Kremlin, and from there over toward Breckenridge and Garber and Billings. The rotation here has weakened. The tornado warning's been allowed to expire. Corey's over here at Waukeeta right here. The winds here also are not quite as strong the way it looks, but there's a lot of spin. There's a lot of spin to the atmosphere up here, so these things can spin down and spin back up, damaging wind-wise. But yes, see how, look how the green is not quite as bright as it was earlier, and Corey Inman, of course, just passed along to you. If you're watching us up here in Grant County, right? Waukeeta and Medford and Renfro that the wind, he believes, also looks like it's come down. Notice the green getting colder. The greens are getting colder, which means the wind is not as strong, but still a good, healthy 50 to 60. But I just need to caution you here. There's a lot of spin in this line. All right, so the wind can come up very, very quickly. So now coming out of Major County into Garfield County, pretty good area of wind right there. The Ames area coming into Drummond, Ames, Drummond. So avoid those west windows. The winds will be out of the west, blowing to the east, and that tornado warning no longer a problem for the east side of Fairview there. So that's moved on by that vicinity. So here's down to the West Metro here. This is all going to fill in with heavy rain. And this entire part of the map right here, even though it's not raining right now, is under a flash flood warning. The computers are cranking out 3 and 4 inch rainfall totals in the next couple of hours. And that includes the West Metro and the Northwest Metro. That's a lot of rain. So we don't want that, but it's heading that way. It looks like pretty much the next 120 minutes to 180 minutes from right now, next 2 to 3 hours or so. So there's northern Oklahoma. And who's this right here? Chris McBee. We're going to go back to the storm down by Sentinel. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, I'm not too far southwest of Dill City here. You can really see all the inflow right here into this notch, right here into this couplet that we're talking about. Got very fast-moving clouds in here, very changing shape, a lot. It's coming right into this area. I am just east of this hook that's really wrapped up in rain, so I may have to reposition here just shortly, but lots of movement in here, but I have not seen anything that I would call a tornado or a funnel at this time.
Look at that feeding in. See all that feeding in? It's feeding in pretty quickly. You got to watch it when they start to breathe like this. Feeding in here, very low, feeding in. Let's go back over to Jeremy. He's also right here looking at this. This is the one big-time supercell we have down here near Cordell. Go, Jeremy.
Yeah, Mike, I'm actually pulling into the town of Cordell, maybe a mile south. And yes, Chris was right. The wind is just streaming into this storm out of the southeast real hard right now, really, really hard. I'm going to get over here into the town of Cordell. I know it's making its approach. I want to be here where I can have a bird's eye view on this, Mike, as it approaches the town of Cordell. But I should be within Cordell within a minute, perhaps a minute and a half. Back to you.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and head on down to the down that line there and look at it. So, yeah, wow. Okay, so it's turned hard right again. Let's go ahead and take Max 1 full. So the circulation's basically wobbling. So we'll go ahead and switch out. So it was moving to the east, and then it lifted to the north, and now it's moving east again. Big time inflow. See that bright red, that hot red right there? That's what Chris McBee just showed you. That low cloud cover that was scraping the ground, practically feeding into it. That's what he just showed you, that bright red. That is strong inflow. And look how the whole thing is folding over on itself like it took a big spoon and went like that to a big old, batch of cookie dough or something. See that, how it's coming around on itself? That's trouble when it does that. It shows it's localizing and anchoring and spinning up. Let's go back to Chris McBee here. You folks in Dill City and Cordell, heads up. This is serious down here. Go, Chris. Oh, yeah, my, look at that. Wow.
Still watching, all the inflow coming into it and watching all that area of rotation. Not seen anything definitive yet, but definitely still keeping an eye on it. I'm very close to this. I'm not sure I can even make Dill City without this coming right over me, so I may be a little pinned down. I may have to go back south, but definitely keeping an eye on it, Mike.
Well, you're doing a great job. I will tell you that it has spun down a little, and that is good. Let's go back over to 1. That was real blocky looking, and look how it got kind of flat there as we were just kind of watching it, right? So the velocities went hot, and now they've cooled off a little bit. So the intensity of the mesocyclone is just going up and down, right? So it moves east, it lifts north, it moves east again, and the intensity goes up and down and just kind of waves around. So it ramped up, and now it's leveled off, and it's ramped back down a little bit. The inflow's relaxed a little bit as well. So that is hopeful that it won't crank out a tornado. But Dill City, you should be in that safe spot. Cordell, you should also be very close to going to that safe spot. Remember, temporary buildings, trailers, mobile homes are not safe in tornadic winds. Let's go back over to Chris McBee, take that shot full again. Chris, it really ramped up hard, but you still got a blocky looking lowering right there, which is pretty ominous.
Yeah, definitely ominous. You're right. I could tell that it ramped up, not even looking at the velocity or the radar. But it has come back down some. It doesn't look quite as bad as it did just a minute ago. I thought we were going to have a tornado for sure just about 5-6 minutes ago. But still watching that area that's low back in here, and I'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Okay, the tornado warnings have been allowed to expire for major. That was the Fairview area, east side of Fairview, so not a problem there. That tornado warning is now going to be allowed to expire. So ahead of this line here, here's your timeline, talking about Binger and Okarche at 9 o'clock. So the far west metro at that time at 9 o'clock. So the metro here, it's 8 o'clock right now, 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock. And we're cranking out tons of rain out here. So here's your time of arrival on that mesocyclone, Dill City right now, Cordell in 13 minutes. Chris McBee, if you're with us, Jeremy Carter. Chris, why don't you go ahead and turn back around, head back down to Willow. Jeremy's on this one right here. Jeremy Carter, Chris McBee is going to track back down to a supercell down at Willow that's got a strong mesocyclone forming. And Jeremy Carter is going to take this one right here. So let's go over to Jeremy Carter again on the west side of Cordell. It's about 13 minutes away from Cordell. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, Mike, I just pulled into the town of Cordell. I'm starting to go west. I do not hear no sirens sounding in Cordell. I'm about to get a visual on it. I really can't see a whole lot here right where I'm at, Mike. Give me just a minute. We'll have a better view of this. Back to you.
So, Ben, there's the beautiful county courthouse building in Cordell. Look at that. Beautiful. That's an amazing, beautiful structure. Really nice. So downtown Cordell right there, under a tornado warning on this Saturday night, coming in from the west now near Dill City. So let's go back over. Let's jump over to Mark Dillard and take a look. Mark Dillard's over there to the east of Fay and Thomas, not too far from Watonga right now, with an update. Is that Watonga there? It looks like downtown Watonga.
Yes, Mike, crossing over the main intersection here in Watonga right now. And just on radar, looking off to my north and east, there is a Boeing segment that's really sped up here. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as it rushes down toward the Highway 33 corridor, toward Loyal and Lomega, the Botec out there, and then on down toward Hennessy and Kingfisher. So going to keep an eye on this as this kind of races now. It's kind of punched out, turning a little bit to the east, southeast as it races out ahead now. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. And then, even these little notches that form as something breaks out ahead, you're going to have, turning winds in there. You could have brief funnels, a lot of straight line wind damage as well from the west, no matter what. So just be ready for that as this begins to head toward the Highway 81 corridor. Mike, back to you.
Okay, so that's Mark Dillard there in Watonga. So let's go ahead and take a look at the broad view here. And basically what we're looking at is we've got quite a few mesocyclones down here on the tail end of this line. They're classic supercells, they're high precipitation supercells, HP supercells, and there's a lot of mesocyclone activity on this, and this is all trucking right up toward the metro. So I would say that it's very close to a certainty at this point that the stronger tail end of this, with the extremely heavy rainfall rates, 2 and 3 inches per hour rainfall rates, right? And they're training one after another, and heavy lightning, damaging wind threat, pretty good size hail threat, right? And maybe even not impossible to have a tornado threat, although that's not set in stone. That part of it is going to be coming up right into the metro, and that timeline is going to be around 9:15 to 9:30 if you live out around Mustang and Yukon, Minco, Tuttle, and El Reno. 9:15, current time's 8:02. So about an hour from right now. And if they come up like boxcars on a freight train, see that right here on a train track, if that all comes up over Oklahoma City, there's going to be some rainfall amounts, especially the west, central, and north metro, that could be up there pretty easily, 3 to 4 inches plus. And we had about a half inch or an inch of rain last night. Kingfisher had about 3.5 inches of rain last night. So this is going to be the potential for catastrophic flooding in flood-prone areas at least, but you're talking about the streams. If you live near a flood-prone stream, there is potential here going forward of catastrophic flooding if this trend continues, and all the computer models do say that it will. All right, so we're talking about flood-prone areas are going to be heavily flooded. Roads are going to go underwater, be closed. Streams are going to go into major flood in and around the metro, especially the west, central, and north metro, the way it looks right now. But it could be down. It could be down into Moore and Norman as well. And also a lot of heavy lightning, hail sizes, a lot of dime, nickel, quarter, some areas of golf ball, but mainly it's the tremendous flooding threat and the damaging wind threat and the isolated tornado threat, perhaps, for the metro. New tornado warning coming for Willow. Let's go back to Chris McBee. That's going to be down here on the tail end of that line to the southwest of Sentinel. New tornado warning for Willow, Chris. You're looking at it right there.
Yeah, Mike, I'm trying to get down to Sentinel where I can position on that one. I head west out of Sentinel to try to get out ahead of the Willow storm. So I don't have it in view yet. I'm in just really heavy rain. So don't have a lot of visibility here. Plus, it's getting dark, you know, so I'm losing light pretty quick. But as soon as I get on that, I'll let you know.
It looks like you're no more than a couple miles north of Sentinel right now. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right, you're going to pop out of that. That gust front line that you see right there on his screen is 3 miles south of Sentinel. When he gets to that gust front line, you'll see on the right-hand part of your screen, there's going to be a low wall cloud right there. A tornado warning is coming out for Willow, Oklahoma. It's the next storm down the line. Now, let's go back over to Max 1, so we'll check back with Chris McBee. Okay, so the rotation west of Cordell is spinning down. It's completely involved in rain. These high precipitation supercells, these HP supercells, often will do a good job if the mesocyclone doesn't keep moving. They do a good job at raining into the mesocyclone. That's happening right now, which usually tends to try to kill it. And the rotation rate has come down a lot. So still a dangerous storm, damaging winds, yes. Heavy flooding, rainfall, yes. But the tornado vortex signature now is gone on the west side of Dill City. But continue your tornado precautions, Dill City and Cordell. And you see the rotation there. The green's pretty much going away. It kind of folded back over on itself, and it's got rain all inside the updraft, raining into the updraft and causing a downdraft. So it's killing it. In the meantime, down the line, tornado warning here between Willow and Rocky, all right, north of Lone Wolf and just north of Lugert Lake. So, Chris McBee, let's go back to you. You're probably really close to being in Sentinel right now. You're going to be looking right at it. It's going to be tracking directly towards Sentinel.
Yeah, I'm in the town of Sentinel right now, just trying to get through town. I may drop just a little south of Sentinel to see if I can see this off to the west. I think my westbound here is going to be pretty involved in rain where I'm not going to have a lot of visibility. So trying to head due south out of Sentinel, and as soon as I can, I will get you a shot of that Willow storm off to the west, Mike.
Yeah, I don't see much need to go into Kiowa County at all. So right when you get to, I wouldn't go any farther than the bend in the road down there on the Kiowa County line. So when you basically are going to be popping out of Sentinel here, look straight west. You're going to be going back up into Sentinel here in just a matter of minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to radar here. And this is that new tornado warning with a hook down by Willow. The tornadic circulation's raining out near Dill City, west of Cordell. Let's go to Jeremy Carter. He's looking at that right now. Jeremy?
Yeah, you can see the mezzo right off to my west. Of course, I'm just a little east of Dill City. The rain is coming down where I'm at. I have a north wind, which that's really a good thing for the town of Cordell and Dill City. But we're watching it, Mike. If anything changes, you know, we're right here with it. So we got our eyes on it. I don't see anything too scary at this time. We're watching it close. Back to you, Mike.
Okay, so lots of rain there. You're looking basically at the mesocyclone west of Cordell there, involved in a whole lot of very heavy rain, which is doing a good job at trying to kill it to the west of Cordell. Go back to radar here on 1. And we'll kind of continue to here take a look. So you see the spin down occurring near Dill City. So continue your precautions for sure. Keep in mind tons of water down here in Ouachita County to the west of Sentinel. A tornado warning there. So here's the motion on the Cordell storm. Cordell here coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes. And then from there, Corn and Colony and Alfalfa and Eakley. Here's the one down with the tornado warning. Sentinel at 8:31. It's 8:07 right now. So 8:30 for Sentinel, so we're talking 20 minutes from now. Hobart at 8:37 and Rocky at 8:42 and Gotebo at 8:58. That is a tornado warning there. A hook there, not a whole lot feeding into it, a couple of cells feeding in, but that's basically open there for inflow, and that's going to be a continued area of pretty decent concern. Far northern Kiowa County, northwest Kiowa County, and central and southern sections of Ouachita County. Flood warnings all in through here as well. Let's go back to Chris McBee now, looking at that from Southwest Sentinel.
Yeah, Mike, I'm a couple miles southwest of Sentinel. I'm almost at that bend in the road you were talking about here on 44. Once I clear that, I'm gonna get a view to the west. It's pretty rainy here. I don't have a real clear view of the Willow storm yet, but it will draw closer, and I'll have a better view for you. Right now, I'm hitting that bend in the road, and I'm going to find a place where I can film to the west, Mike.
Okay, so let's just kind of hang with you here for a minute, and you're at the bend in the road. No need to go any farther than that, I don't think. Northern Oklahoma, so a lot of heavy rain. No tornado warnings. They've been allowed to expire to the west of Enid, but still severe thunderstorm warnings. And we had this one tornado warning area here near Willow, Oklahoma, to the west of Sentinel. Let's go to the big view here on Max 1. So you see the one tornado warning there. That's going to be for far northwestern Kiowa County and then up into Ouachita County. Officially still a tornado warning for Dill City, but it's pretty heavily involved in rain. So it looks to be not quite so much the threat, although officially still a tornado warning in effect. And then up the line, severe thunderstorm warnings from the far west metro all the way up the Highway 81 corridor, all the way up through Enid, all the way up into Medford. Big time wall of water. Flash flood warnings now are out for the entire west and northwest metro and everybody underneath this line. And the heaviest rain, the largest hail, the heaviest lightning, the highest velocity damaging winds are all down here on the southern edge of this line, which is tracking up toward the Oklahoma City metro. So we've got pretty much our hands full, I think, for the metro here between 9:15 and about midnight. 9:15 to midnight on a Saturday night, right? If you're out right now and you're watching, us with this coverage and you're listening to us, you need to know that we've got our hands full in terms of a tremendous amount of rain and severe weather, including damaging winds, lightning, some pretty good size hail. Tornado threat, it's not extremely high for Oklahoma City proper. However, with these things coming in from the west, it wouldn't be impossible to get some tornadic activity in the metro as well. 9:15 to about midnight, but it may rain. Parts of the metro may get 4 inches of rain in that period of time. Imagine what that's going to do to the road. Say that again, Jill. Let's go, Mark Dillard here near Omega, Loyal Omega, out there by Kingfisher. Mark?
Yes, Mike, just watching it, this area has really started to kind of fill in and build more of a wall cloud feature. This is right on that Boeing segment that's going to be north and east of the Kingfisher area, basically almost west of the north and west of the Kingfisher area, right over Loyal and west of Dover there. So just keeping an eye on that. From far away, that low looks really ominous. The cold air, I'm sitting at 78 right now, but the cold air is really, once you get right up to it, it undercuts it, and I think prevents it from producing more funnel features. But we have seen several funnels today, really along this leading edge. That is kind of just back right in behind that leading edge. So I'm going to keep an eye on it as we continue down Highway 33 to the east toward Kingfisher. Back to you, Mike.
Mark, appreciate that. That is going to be for Kingfisher County. You're under a flash flood warning. You're under a flash flood warning in Kingfisher County as well as Canadian County. So Okarche, Kingfisher, El Reno, Yukon, Mustang, Union City, all under flash flood warnings. And we just have to pass along to you that if we get this amount of volume of rain the computer models are predicting and radar showing right now, especially the central and west and north metro, there's going to be some very, very serious flooding problems here going forward. So it's going to be basically, with all the water coming in, a pretty reasonably high amount of flooding chaos for the metro and flood-prone areas. So you need to know that. And remember that you don't want to be out there. Turn around, don't drown. And we're talking streams as well, not only flood-prone areas, but stream flooding as well for the Oklahoma City Metro. So again, if you do know or you live near a stream that has been going into a flood, that is going to be a serious issue for you also. So let's hope we don't get 3 to 4 inches of rain. But right now, it looks like that is what may well happen. And already all the West Metro, Northwest Metro under flash flood warnings. This is Jeremy Carter looking at the rotation west of Cordell right now. That tornado warning still technically in effect. It has spun down, has a lot of rain in it, and that's killing it right now, which is good.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, the winds where I'm at are from the north. It's still enough rotation. I can see it spinning pretty good with my eyes. A lot of lightning, ton of lightning. I had a lightning bolt probably struck maybe within a quarter mile of me. Pretty dangerous storm still. I'll definitely still take your precautions. A lot of motion still here, Mike. Back to you.
Okay, that is Jeremy Carter from between Cordell and Dill City. See the lowering there still. Let's go back over to Max 1. We're going to check in with Mike Bennett here coming up soon. So severe thunderstorm watch in blue, tornado watch in green. Tornado warnings continue for far northwest Kiowa into much of central and western Ouachita counties. Right now, severe weather approaching the metro gradually from the west. Pretty much solid wall of water. Winds 70, 75 miles an hour. Pretty common in this line. And then back down to the southwest, more supercellular type tornadoes with tornado warnings. Lightning rates are also very, very high. So electrically active storms also. Zooming on in here to the West Metro. Here's Canadian County, flash flood warning. Kingfisher County, flash flood warning. Blaine County, flash flood warning. Let's go to Mark Dillard. Then we're going to do, this is driving rain with Mike Bennett. West side of Enid, Mike Bennett, go.
Okay, yeah, all right, Mike, just coming into the home, I'm trying to punch through this and get to Enid, get on the leading edge of this. We haven't, since we left Fairview, we haven't experienced the strong winds like we had back in Fairview, but I'm kind of, well, now as I say that, I'm getting blasted right now, Mike. Just coming into the home and getting strong winds out of the northwest. So everybody in Enid, brace yourself for this. Very powerful storm. Okay, winds just shifted out of the southwest now, Mike. So a very, very powerful storm moving into Enid. There's probably going to be some damaging winds. I did call Fairview Police Department. It seemed like there was a lot of major damage there that they, at least 10 minutes after I left, they had not had any call-ins on it. So they might have gotten by pretty lucky. But anyway, Enid, Lahoma, brace yourselves. Damaging winds coming in.
Yeah. Okay, that is, again, for Garfield County. Let's go back over to radar. And so who's this here? That's Mark Dillard. So Mark Dillard's between Watonga and Kingfisher out there by Loyal and Omega and the Community College right there in western Kingfisher County. Mark, flash flood warnings, as you know, are in effect now for Kingfisher County as that wall of water comes in.
Yes, Mike, and it's going to be pretty heavy rain coming down for an extended amount of time in an area that, of course, like many, does not need any more water. After yesterday, I was with Emily Sutton in Kingfisher about this time of night, too, with water collecting in the over area, the train overpass just east of downtown with the sidewalk cover. Need more water up here, that's for sure. But continue with this gust front, this Boeing area here that's kind of raced out ahead a little bit. It's got some funnel features, some lowering features at times. I'm keeping my eye on it, Mike, but losing the daylight rapidly here. So I just want to urge folks, if you have a concern, you might want to be near a shelter area.
That's Mark Dillard between Watonga and Kingfisher right there. So let's go back over to 1. And so here is the West Metro right here. Flash flood warnings are all out. So Watonga back down to Greenfield. Mark, if you're still with us, a little bit of spin there starting to form near Greenfield, all right? So you're right there in a position to see that. So it's kind of open to the southeast, so a little spin there forming near Greenfield. So that's going to be tracking right toward you, Mark, out of Blaine County into Kingfisher County. Flash flood warnings all the way up into northern Kingfisher County, all the way up into Garfield County. Down the line here, torrential rain in Weatherford. Here's the spin. The tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. It's right over Dill City right now, but the new meso is now northwest of Sentinel. The new mesocyclone there, northwest of Sentinel, 2 areas of spin, southwest of Sentinel and northwest of Sentinel. Active tornado warning here. So Dill City, Sentinel. So Chris McBee's looking to the west and to the northwest right now at both of those areas of spin. Go Chris McBee.
Yeah, definitely in that area right now. I'm a little ways south of Sentinel, looking off to my west-southwest. Still tornado warning in this area. There's some precip in between me and the storm, and it's real hard to see out here, Mike, coupled with the fact that it's getting dark. So I'm trying to get a visual on this. I may have to start relying on lightning soon, but definitely in this area, watching these areas of spin. Back to you.
Okay, so that's going to be the update there for the Sentinel area. Back over to Max 1. So the northern mesocyclone here, no longer a tornado warning, but a couple of areas of spin there, still moderate. Northwest of Sentinel and to the west and southwest of Sentinel, northern edge of Altus Luger Lake. So Chris is looking at that area there to his west. And it's got fresh inflow, so that's probably not going to be going away anytime soon, that area of spin. So that's a heads up also for the Highway 9 corridor here, right? Hobart, Godebo, Mountain View, Carnegie, Highway 9 corridor, Rocky, Sentinel, Cordell. Nothing feeding up into that right now as far as any storms to weaken it, so it's got fresh inflow, so I doubt that that's going to be going away anytime soon. It is an established supercell also. That's going to be down here in southwest Oklahoma. You can see the bright green, bright red. Chris, just checking back with you. Looks like maybe the area right down the Kiowa County line, straight west of you, is ramping up right now. And it has fresh inflow here, no storms feeding into it. So it looks like it may be on the upswing in terms of cycling back up. What can you say about that right now?
Well, it's pretty hard to see off to the west here. I may change cameras here in a minute. I've got one that's got some night vision capability. I might be able to see a little bit better. But it's very low to the ground, just off to my west-southwest here. I'm just on a farm road looking due west, right here around the Kiowa County line, like you said. Getting occasional lightning strikes, and it's pretty low back in there, but I can't see anything real definitive at this time. But this will be drawing closer to me as we go in the next few minutes, and I'll hopefully get a better view on it, Mike.
Feel free to go back over to your night vision there at your leisure, Chris McBee. Appreciate that very much. Let's go back to radar here on Max 1. Lightning strikes there. So the velocities are picking up. There's some data contamination issues here as well. But we do see definitely the general spin is picking up. So heads up for the Highway 9 corridor over through Rocky and Sentinel, Oklahoma. The north mesocyclone is weakened. This one now may be strengthening again. Still an active tornado warning on that. Sentinel at 35 after. Hobart 41 after. It's right now 20 after. Rocky 45 after. Godebo at 9. Mountain View at 9:14. All right, so it's all heading your way. Flooding rain, pretty large hail, but tons of lightning, flooding rain, tornado threat, damaging wind threat. Hail size is not giant today. There's a lot of precipitation out there, but a lot of nickels, dimes, quarters, and a few golf balls from time to time. But that appears to be increasing in intensity down there. So heads up for sure. So here's the West Metro talking about 940 at El Reno, Piedmont at 946 ahead of this line. And we've got trackers here lined up all along this line. Coming past Weatherford now, torrential rain in Weatherford, flash flood warnings are all in effect here for the west and the northwest and the north metro. And again, that timeline there is going to be right around 9:20 to 9:40, and then slowly, very slowly coming in. Torrential rain potentially could last for hours right here in central Oklahoma as these are training like boxcars on a freight train down a train track, and that train track is going to shift over to the metro area beginning at about 9:15 to 9:30. Ground is totally saturated, as you already know, so you're going to want to completely avoid any traveling in flood-prone areas. Just completely avoid them beginning at about 9:15, all right? So just be where you want to be and don't get out there on the roads with all this flooding that looks like it's likely is going to be taking place. Winds coming into Enid right now, high winds too, severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Barb, Bison, Vance, Wacomas, Enid, Kremlin, Hillsdale, on up into Pond Creek and Medford. Mike Bennett is there right now. Mike?
Okay, Mike, yeah, I'm just coming into the west side of Enid right now, and we're right in the core of it. We're right in the heaviest part of it. And it's just as dark as night out here, and it's it was 8:22. The wind has not been, too terrible. I mean, it's we're getting some pea to dime size hail mixed in with the rain. Not a lot of that, but there's some wind in this, Mike. But thing of it is, the wind's not on the leading edge of it. It's in the rain. So once the rain starts, when the high winds go pick up. So hopefully Enid does not experience the wind we had back at Fairview. Mike?
Yeah, winds you estimated close to 80 there at Fairview a while ago on the backside of a circulation that had a tornado warning on it. But that, of course, has cleared Fairview now, and the tornado warning has been allowed to expire for major counties. So no longer a tornado warning there. So, Mike, how strong are your winds right now, would you say?
Mike, I mean, it's a little hard to tell when you're driving versus, because I'm kind of going with the wind. But I'm going to say we're probably 40, 50 mile per hour winds. But I mean, that could change. That could come up at a moment's notice. And the higher winds could be, 2 miles south of me, still yet to come in. And I also mentioned, Mike, too, that Fairview is without power when I left.
Okay, Fairview without power when you left there just a short while ago. So now that activity coming into Enid. Of course, Enid's had a lot of heavy rain here lately. Mike, the most flood-prone areas in Enid now are going to quickly go into flood here.
Yeah, Mike, that's for sure. It's Fairview. I couldn't believe, how much water was standing in Fairview on the side streets. Some of the side streets were rivers, and I used to live there. I've never seen some of those side streets go under like that. It's just because the ground's so saturated that it doesn't have anywhere to go. And Main Street, which is the highway, runs right through the middle of Fairview. There were a good chunk of that had 4 to 6 inches of water in it, except for in the right down in the center of the road where it's the highest point. And so and there's some flood prone areas in Fairview, and I'm sure it's just a raging river in those spots right now. So we'll see what happens here in Enid. The rain's just now coming in, and we're just actually entering the west edge of town right now. So we'll just kind of ride this out with Enid like we rode it out with Fairview, Mike.
Okay, rotation, a little bit of rotation up in northern Oklahoma. Again, on the gust front. Let's go to Corey Inman here on that. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm 3 miles west of Medford on Highway 11 here, and you can see the rotation right here on the leading edge. This thing spun up pretty quick and had a decent lowering here, but you can see that almost looks like a funnel coming out of the leading edge of this here. I'm getting slammed with southwest winds at about 50, 55. And this thing's trying to spin up here just west of Medford, so people in Medford need to pay attention as this thing moves in, Mike.
Yeah, describe that to us. Gust front spin up here, high velocity winds, and again, these come up very, very quickly.
Yeah, this thing developed, Mike, probably in about 2 or 3 minutes, and just right here in front of us formed a nice big wall cloud right behind the leading edge of the gust front, and then we had this funnel here try to spin down. Looks like another bigger funnel trying to come down now, Mike. But we're gonna have to get out of the rain here because we're on the back side of it now. Give me just a minute, and we'll get back out in front of it.
Okay, so that is an area there of rotation along the gust front down up there in Grant County right now, so near Medford. So these leading edge gust front tornadoes, they often don't last very long. They tend to hit really quickly and they move very quickly. So they're very tough. They're very tough to know when they're coming. You got to be staring at radar when it actually happens. And that was occurring up here in northern Oklahoma. There's a lot of spin. So severe storms, Grant County, K County severe, western central Noble County, Ponca City, Blackwell, Tonkawa, Sears, Red Rock, Billings, Perry, on down to Morrison, and then to the west side of Stillwater, Lake McMurtry, Lake Carl, Blackwell. All severe thunderstorm warnings there. And then look at this wall of water. And then flooding is going to be affecting a lot of people, far more than any tornado threat. Far more is going to be the flooding threat, widespread flooding, which in some cases you don't want to use the word catastrophic. However, given the fact that we've had tremendous amounts of rain. Some folks have had 15, 20 inches of rain. Kingfisher just yesterday had nearly 4 inches of rain. We have a huge wall of water coming in right now. Storms are not moving very quickly, and they're lined up along a train track here and training one after another like freight cars on a freight train. And that creates giant rainfall totals when that happens. So here's northern Oklahoma. Here's the West Metro. Flash flood warnings are in effect all ahead of this line. Back down into southwest Oklahoma, the tornado warning near Cordell has been allowed to expire. And did they go ahead and kill the tornado warning back down by Willow?
It's going to expire when its time's up.
When it's going to expire when the time expires, coming up in just a few minutes. So in other words, we're losing the spin here. We're losing the spin down here west of Sentinel and Rocky. But again, a gust front there with some damaging wind. The main spin is what's left of. It's over Lugert Lake right now, but this tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire north of Lone Wolf and north of Lugert Lake and southwest of Rocky and Sentinel. But I will just show you, though, there's nothing feeding into it as far as any storms. So it's open with fresh inflow, still has cyclonic rotation. See the curvature right here. And this is a supercell here. It's a high precipitation supercell. So that spin could easily ramp back up as it continues to just chug along through Ouachita County and then from there into Caddo County. And then from there, we're talking about the West Metro. So we'll see how this evolves here the next hour to 2 hours, but we have basically a long road to hoe here because of the tremendous amount of rainfall here heading our way. Let's go back over to Chris McBee. He's near Sentinel with an update on that. More of a gust front now, Chris. Spin's not quite as clean.
Yeah, I saw that the tornado warning had been dropped, which is a good thing, like you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I think we may have strong winds with the gust front and everything, and I've got the night vision capability. I don't know if you can see that there in the studio, but I'm running that. So hopefully we can get out in front of this thing, and hopefully we're only talking about a straight line wind and heavy rain threat at this point, and maybe the tornado threat is ramping down just a little bit in this area in southwest Oklahoma, but. We'll head east with this and see what it does as it goes east, Mike.
Okay, so you see the big shelf cloud there, big shelf cloud, a little bit of a lowering underneath that, but a great big heavy shelf cloud here indicating a big gust front. There is a little lowering back here in the lightning. You can see that there in the lightning flashes. That's down there to the west and southwest of Sentinel, down southwest of Cordell there a little ways. Let's go back over to radar. So here's the areas of spin. And again, these storms aren't going away. They're going to go ahead and just keep on chugging gradually toward the metro. 8:30 here. We're going to be covering this right on past the 10 o'clock. And I think right into the midnight hour. I think we're looking at many hours here going forward. So Hobart 8:41, Rocky 8:45, severe thunderstorm there. The tornado warning is expiring right now at 8:30, and strong winds coming into Eric and near Vinson, west of Mangum, north of Hobart there. Strong winds. Those are damaging winds in through there. Those are severe storms coming into southwest Oklahoma. So you see all of this water here. So again, the track on this is slowing to the northeast, but maintaining a northeastward track. All right. And look at all this water here. It's solid on a track. Think of it as boxcars on a freight train on the train track. And they're just cruising right up here into northern Caddo, into Canadian, into Kingfisher, Logan, and Oklahoma counties. So although we still have a tornado threat going forward, the flooding threat is going to be the giant threat here going forward, because the trend here is this to slowly be trucking right up into the West Metro. So again, the timeline on that is 9:15 to 9:30, right through 10 o'clock, right through 11 o'clock. So let me just say it. We're on a Saturday night here, right? If you're watching at home, you need to stay home and just hunker down because we got a lot of rain coming. If you're out right now, you need to have a plan as to where to go in this 9:30 to 10 to 11 o'clock to midnight time frame, all right? You need to have that plan, all right? You need to do that plan, okay? Don't be out there thinking you're going to go cruise around the metro at around 10:30 this evening. You're not going to want to do that. because this is all coming into the metro right now. And we're talking about rainfall totals which may be 4 to 5 inches plus, because these are torrential thunderstorm rainstorms here. And they're coming up one after another, and they're moving right into the West Metro right now. There's your timeline, all right? So talking about Okarche at about 17 after 9. It's 8:33 right now. Coger at about 9:35. El Reno at 9:40. Piedmont 9:46. So right there, El Reno about 9:45, 9:50, all right? And then from there, Yukon, Bethany, War Acres, downtown, Nichols Hills, the Village, Edmond, Deer Creek, Edmond, and you're going to be talking about if it doesn't change, and the computer models say that it doesn't change. We're going to get these rainfall totals, which will be 4, 5 inches. Could go higher than that. Not at all stretch to say we get 4 to 5 to 6 inches of rain this evening in Oklahoma City. You can only imagine what that's going to do, right? Given the fact we've already had so much rain, it would be a catastrophic flooding situation. So everybody needs to be basically where they want to be and not out there cruising around on those roads, because there are going to be roads that are going to be impassable. You're going to have roads that are going to be having changing conditions very quickly. Visibility is going to be near zero. So you're looking at a catastrophic flooding situation, all right? There'll be other Saturday evenings, right, where we can go do something fun, but I wouldn't do that this evening after about 9:15 in Oklahoma City, 45 minutes to an hour from right now. There'll be other Saturday evenings we can enjoy things, but I wouldn't be doing those kind of things tonight, just wouldn't. Let's go on up here into northern Oklahoma. Corey Inman, he's near Medford right now in Grant County. Severe thunderstorm warnings here. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm on Highway 11 to the east of Medford, between Medford and Deer Creek. That area that we were watching that spun up there real quick west of Medford is actually about a quarter to a half a mile north of Highway 11, and I would say we're about 6 miles to the east of Medford. So hanging right here with it, running parallel right out the window here, Mike, so we'll be able to see if anything happens. There's still a little bit of rotation in there, but not like what there was when it spun up real quick there on the west side of Medford.
Okay, so just to point out here again to you, Chris, you know this already, that it has fresh inflow coming into it, so it could easily still cycle back up in terms of tornado potential, although the tornado warning has indeed been allowed to expire. You can still see fresh inflow for sure, right, coming into that. Yeah, Chris McBee up there in northern Oklahoma. So let's give you, or I'm sorry, that was Corey Inman up in northern Oklahoma. So let's give you a timeline here on that. Corey Inman here near Medford. So Renfro Highway 81 over to Deer Creek, Nardin, Lamont. And then from there, we're talking about Newkirk, Bremen, Blackwell, Tonkawa, the Blackwell-Tonkawa Airport. From there over into Ponca City and over toward Kaw Lake. And we know what kind of condition Kaw Lake is in. We also know what kind of condition the flood-prone areas in Ponca City are in. And this is a line of severe storms here, winds of 70, 75. There is a lot of spin here on the gust front. We're getting little areas that try to spin up into weak tornadoes, but it is a large area of 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds and torrential rainfall. Again, back to Corey Inman here. Just an update on that. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, you're exactly right. Back from Medford to the west is just a wall of water. It's almost undrivable. We were driving about 20, 25, and we were having to get through it there to punch back out in front. But this rotation here is, like I said, it's just to our north. It's between Medford and Lamont right now, just to the north of Highway 11. Haven't had anything that looked like a funnel since back west of Medford. But we're sitting right here looking at it, Mike. If anything changes, we'll let you know.
Okay, back over to radar here. Let's go ahead and check it out. We're going to go to Mark Dillard here next down the line. So still a bow there to the gust front, so still very much severe thunderstorms there. Here's K County, flash flood warnings in effect all ahead and underneath that line of severe storms, 60 to 70, a lot of torrential rain. There's the velocities there in the Doppler showing a pretty nice bow or a punch out on the gust front there, pretty much going down Highway 11 from Medford over to Deer Creek, Nardin, Blackwell, Bremen, over toward Chilocco. So a lot of wind here coming to the east, and then down the line here, getting little waves here in the gust front, Breckenridge, Garber, Billings, Covington, Fairmont. right? Over into eastern Garfield County, from there over to Perry, Sears, Red Rock, up toward Marlin. Let's go to Mike Bennett on this. Little waves there in the gust front, not impossible to get little weak tornadoes in there. But again, the main threat here is going to be damaging straight line winds, very frequent lightning, some hail, a lot of dime, nickel, and some quarter-size hailstones, but mainly these high precipitation supercells producing giant rainfall rates. Mike Bennett.
Okay, yeah, Mike, we're in Enid still, east side of Enid now, and I believe Enid escaped the high winds. That could have gone down south of us to Wacomas. I haven't heard any reports on that yet, but right now I think Enid's main concern is going to be flooding rainfall. And just looking at GR level 3, we got more rain that's going to come up from the southwest into Enid, just kind of trained up through this area. So we're going to kind of keep an eye on some of the flood-prone areas here and watch the water come up, and then possibly drift a little bit east with this, Mike.
Okay, that is from Enid right there. Mike Bennett, back to radar. So this line is moving up here in northern Oklahoma, but the line's not moving beginning at about Kingfisher County. Gust fronts coming out of this as well. Again, here's northern Oklahoma. The light to moderate rain is now kind of starting to clear out a little bit out of Woods County, light to moderate rain in Alfalfa County. So at least this is a fairly narrow line here. Pick up a quick 1 to 1.5 inches of rain with this. There's your time of arrival looking eastbound. Talking about Blackwell at 9:13 and Newkirk at 9:35. And then down the line here, Hunter, Garber, Billings, Sears, Red Rock, Marlin 9:34, Garber 8:53. So what is this? A line of severe storms, flooding rainfall. Not impossible to get a couple of brief spin-ups of tornadic activity, but the main threat is going to be the flooding. This is the computer estimate of the rainfall from now through late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Most of this rain is going to occur between right now and about midnight tonight. But I do want to point out to you that this orange color right here going to yellow is almost 7 inches of rain, almost 7 inches of rain. And the problem here, the computer doesn't really know. The computer doesn't really know the way these are lining up like a training, like boxcars on a freight train. It doesn't quite, it does see it, but it doesn't really have it totally figured out. The problem is that the outflow from those storms is going to push this heavier rain more and more into Oklahoma City. And the main concern right now is that that line of storms comes all the way into the metro and then stalls, all right? So let's go ahead and back up here, and I'll show you exactly what that's meaning here in terms of the metro. And we'll back up and take a look at the area southwest of Oklahoma City. And this is all coming up toward Oklahoma City right now. So this line right here, all the way back down into southwest Oklahoma. So here's Oklahoma County. Flash flood warnings are out for the entire west and northwest metro. And look how it's a sharp line from Hollis to Mangum to about Rocky, over to about almost Binger, all right? So you draw that line, and it's El Reno. You draw that line, and it's El Reno to about Edmond, all right? So we're talking about Canadian, Kingfisher, Logan, and the west and north Oklahoma City area. But the outflow keeps trying to push this more to the east as it tries to ride up that track to the northeast. So it could potentially push this line deeper into Oklahoma City, like Yukon and Bethany and War Acres and Edmond and Deer Creek, Edmond, and downtown Oklahoma City and Nichols Hills and the Village. Why is that a big deal? Because from here to here, to get that line through is going to be an easy 3 inches of rain. But if it were to stall, it's going to be 3 to 6 inches of rain. So we have this potential, which keeps climbing, of getting this extremely serious flooding into the Oklahoma City metro. And again, the timeline on that is going to be 9:30 or so, beginning at about 9:30. It's 8:41 right now. So you're going to want to not be on those roads, because the flooding, an urban flooding situation in terms of impacting the most number of people, is about as serious as it gets. It's like an impact of a very large tornado, right? So you get an urban flooding situation, it affects a lot of folks. And the trend here is not good in terms of this coming in. It's already not good for the folks out west who are experiencing this and trying to get their wheat crop in, which is not happening, and flood-prone areas are in serious flood. Let's go back down that line to Chris McBee, and then Jeremy Carter is next.
Yeah, Mike, I'm still in the Sentinel area. I'm going to head east out of Sentinel over towards Rocky and try to stay ahead of this main area of precipitation with this storm. I'll probably end up towards maybe the Corn Colony area as this moves in, but I'm definitely going to stay ahead of it and let you know what I see, Mike.
So we're looking at velocities here. We see a big gust front there going down that line. It looks like some very strong inflow next to very strong outflow. And you see basically that wedge or wall of wind and water, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll look at this on velocity as well. Definitely some strong winds, and I'm coming into very heavy rain here as well. So, yeah, it's definitely very hard to travel out here. I wouldn't recommend anybody on the roads, and there's really hardly anyone out here, which is great. But yeah, I'm going to get up to Sentinel and head east a little bit, Mike.
Okay, so let's go back over to the broad view here, and we will go to Mark Dillard actually next here coming up. So severe storms up north, Kay County, Noble County, Garfield County, and Grant County. Heavy lightning there as well, winds 60 to 70, pretty common with that. And then the West Metro here, Kingfisher now starting to get heavy rain. They had 4 inches of rain just yesterday. And some mesonet totals up here are running 15 inches plus over the past 10 days to 2 weeks or so. 15 inches plus. We're getting close to getting a half a year's rainfall now in a 2-week period of time. Think about that. 2-week period of time to get a half a year's annual normal total in 2 weeks. That's serious. Now the rain is really coming up fast now in Kingfisher. We don't want that. Let's go to Mark Dillard. He's right there. Mark, you're on a closed road here, it looks like. Tell us where you are currently. So Mark, looking at road closures there, high water off in the distance.
Yes,
Highway 33 west of downtown Kingfisher. Mark, are you with us?
Yes, Mike, I'm here. You're looking at Highway 33 to the west side of downtown Kingfisher, and this is a city vehicle. They've got one on either side of this section of 33 that comes through town, and then to the curve on the west side of town leading out. This area has water over the road, and there's several areas here in the Kingfisher area that still have water over the road from, as you were saying, the immense amount of rain they've had up here in the last couple of weeks. So really, you don't want to be out driving in this because 81 is just going to fill in. A drive now to Enid would be out of the question, in my opinion, because it's just going to be a wall of water. So just keep that in mind, folks, as this rolls all the way in past the 81 corridor, then to Oklahoma City and I-35 corridor. It's going to be some tough driving and really not advised. Mike, back to you.
So, Mark, you're noticing the rain is picking up pretty quickly now in Kingfisher, where you're located.
Yeah, I'm just on the Kingfisher's just on the south side of that Boeing area that's kind of raced out, and then the notch there. It's taken a little bit of time for the water to fill in, but it's starting to rain pretty heavily right now. And you know, as you've mentioned, and we've all mentioned throughout the event here, they just don't need any more rain up here. It's going to be a really bad situation. I suggest people get to as high a spot as they can get and ride it out. Back to you.
Okay, Mark Dillard there from Kingfisher. Mark and Emily were up there, of course, yesterday and experienced a rapid rise to the water level yesterday. And that's a view right there of Highway 33, which is closed there. The locals, of course, know that, but closed there on the western sides of Kingfisher. So the situation here continues to present itself in terms of a serious developing flooding situation, and that's going to be including, it looks likely, for the Oklahoma City metro area. So let's go ahead and show you. We'll back out, kind of give you an overview if you're just now joining us, and we hope you do. We hope you do, because it is important information here. We know that Oklahoma weather can be volatile and it can be life-threatening. And we don't want that to be the case tonight, but it potentially really could be. So here's what we have going on right now. As of 8:45 this evening on this Saturday, tornado watches in western Oklahoma, severe thunderstorm watches for all of central Oklahoma, and the severe thunderstorm watch includes all of the Oklahoma City metro area. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. Numerous flash flood warnings are in effect. So we have the latest round of torrential rain. It's moving, the rain is moving along in northern Oklahoma, but the line is not moving along along from about Weatherford and Bridgeport and Hydro back down through Cordell and back down through northern Greer County into northern Harmon County. This part of the line is not moving. Individual cells are moving along a track, but the track itself is not moving. That's the problem, because as this area shifts to the east in northern Oklahoma, it'll drag a tail of outflow that'll come down likely into the metro here and then feed on this line, which will shift the track of the heavy rain directly at least into the western, central, and northern sides of the Oklahoma City metro. And rainfall totals, Aaron, if you would, read perhaps some Mesonet. There's only one station per county generally, so you often don't get a complete picture as to how much rain is falling, but there are obviously some pretty large 3-hour totals on Mesonet. Back
2.87 Elk City.
Okay, Elk City's had about 3 inches of rain, for example. 2.5 in Butler, 2.5 in Eric. So we're talking, 3 inches here, but again, there's one site per county, right? So you're talking about, what can happen between Edmond and downtown Oklahoma City, for example, or maybe between what can happen between El Reno and Norman, for example, right? A lot can happen in between those locations. So, but we're getting some measured reports of about 3 inches, give or take. So here's Oklahoma County right here. It's now 12 minutes until 9 o'clock. We're getting the area filling in with rain. Heavy rain continues in Kingfisher. And this leading edge of this solid rain now is passing Weatherford to Hinton and Gary and Greenfield. It looks like it's going to travel up through the west and north metro. So we're talking Okarche, Piedmont, El Reno, Deer Creek, Edmond, Guthrie, and maybe up toward Overholser and Mercy Hospital. It looks like it's going to track about there right now. But again, it's a slow process because this activity out to the west, not moving very much. It's just lumbering along. And that's why the rainfall amounts and the rainfall totals are such a big deal, combined with the fact we've had a half of annual rainfall total in many locations in Oklahoma just in the past 2 weeks. Talking about 15 inches. Some folks now are approaching 20 inches of rain. And here comes the latest round of torrential rain. And those rainfall totals here are, underneath here, are 4 to 5 inches already.
Flash flood emergency coming out Burns Flat to Willow.
Okay, flash flood emergency from Burns Flat to Willow underneath this, where there are some totals that are up there in the 4 to 5 inch range right now. Feel free to go to the rainfall total map, and let's just kind of query some of those and see what we've got going on back down in here. Flash flood emergency back down here, Burns Flat down to Willow. So we're talking about Ouachita County back down into Greer County. Let's go to Chris McBee on that, and also Jeremy Carter, 2 trackers we have down here. Flash flood emergency now for that part of our state. Chris?
Yeah, I'm in the Rocky area right now. I was trying to follow this east, further over towards Cordell and Corn and Colony, and off that way towards Eakley. I definitely believe that flash flood emergency. Some of the rain I've driven through today has been absolutely blinding. I couldn't even believe how heavy the rain was on I-40 just a little while ago, and that's the same system coming through. So, the flash flooding is definitely a concern, Mike.
Okay, Chris McBee down southwest. Let's go to Jeremy Carter, also up here by Cordell. Flash flood emergency for parts of Ouachita and Greer counties down here, meaning completely catastrophic flooding. Life-threatening flooding, high water at levels that have been rarely seen before. Jeremy Carter here live. Jeremy?
Yeah, Mike, that don't surprise me at all. I'm getting reports that are showing 10 to 15 inches of water running over Highway 152. That's just west of me, maybe 15 to 20 miles back on the other side of Cordell. And I've actually been trying to stay out ahead of the rain, because when I got in it earlier, it was so blinding. And with all these wheat fields, they're totally saturated. They will inundate the roadways in just a matter of minutes, Mike. Back to you.
Yeah, with that Cordell storm, Clinton Sherman Air Force Base to the little ways to the west of Cordell there picked up 2.1 inches of rain in a 45-minute period of time. So that's a rainfall rate of right at 3 inches, okay? 3 inches of rain in an hour. So the problem is, you get 3 inches of rain in an hour, you've got to get the core of the storm to sit over you for an hour to get the 3-inch amount of rain. That'd be the rate of rain per hour. Usually storms move, so you don't get 3 inches of rain in an hour, even though it's producing rainfall rates of 3 inches per hour. But in this case, you have this train track here set up, one after another here on the storms. You're getting these amounts of 3 inches because the storms are not moving along this track down here in southwest Oklahoma. Big area of damaging winds here. Willow, Mangum with a severe line of storms coming through Greer County down into northwestern Jackson County. So high winds here also racing eastward across Altus Lugert Lake here in a few minutes, moving right along. That might weaken any mesocyclone potential down here, which is good, but that's damaging straight line winds and torrential rain here all the way down into Harmon County, just on the north side of Hollis right now. So this is all extremely heavy torrential rain. So the motion here is to the northeast, and the general track appears to be along these lines from into northern Caddo County around 9:30 to 10 o'clock, and then right around 10 o'clock, much of the west metro. So the situation here on a Saturday night, if this trend continues and this activity comes in here, maybe it'll weaken, but the computer models say it comes in here with a lot of heavy rain. So this 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight time frame on a Saturday night, you need to know that if this trend continues, we're going to have a very extensive amount of flooding and high water, and it's going to affect a lot of locations, especially the west, central, and north metro. May not affect so imminently the areas down around Chickasha or Norman, but it may. But the trend is the west, central, and north metro. Again, it's kind of a slow progression here. The line's not in any big hurry to move. It is moving, but it's not very quickly. Let's go back up to Kingfisher for Mark Dillard right now in Kingfisher with that Highway 33 area and the rain intermittently getting heavier in Kingfisher right now, but the trend is a lot of water for Kingfisher County. Mark?
Yes, Mike, just kind of running up 33, and now I'm on 81 in an area that was definitely curb to curb. About a foot deep at times last night, and I'm already starting to get some curb flooding on the curbs here along Highway 81, and we really haven't had that much rainfall to me in a short amount of time. But there's areas here in Kingfisher that just do not drain very well, and they're already taking care of some of that as far as blocking the road that has been covered on Highway 33. There's a low spot between downtown and the west side that they've had closed off for quite some time now. And then Highway 81 along the downtown area has some closure points as well. So locals kind of know where the spots are, but I'm telling you, if you have plans to get out and drive town to town, especially along Highway 81 or coming in on I-40 out in western Oklahoma, it's just that blanket of rain coming down. We're kind of in a lull here right now in Kingfisher, but it's going to pick up here pretty soon. Back to you, Mike.
Okay, Mark, that is Mark Dillard there from Kingfisher. Let's jump up the line to Corey Inman, who's up in Kay County. Corey being from Ponca City up there. Let's talk to Corey up there in northern Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm here on Highway 11 just to the west of a mile and a half, 2 miles west of I-35. We did have another area try to spin up there real quick, just to the west of I-35, right over Highway 11. We had to push back to the east here as it moved over the top of us, but still a few areas here along the leading edge of this trying to spin up as it moves into Kay County, into the I-35 corridor in Blackwell, Ponca City. So we're staying right here, right up with the leading edge of it, and if anything happens, Mike, we'll let you know.
Okay, so Corey Inman up there in Kay County near Blackwell in northern Oklahoma. Let's jump down the line here to Mike Bennett, who's between Enid and Perry right now. Mike?
Okay, we're sitting on the Highway 81 and 412 intersection, and there's a part of this that's underwater. It's about probably 6 to 8 inches deep there. You see a truck go through there in just a minute, but it's still open. This is one of the flood-prone areas that we have here, and I'm going to head to a couple of others and see how we're faring. But right now, it seems like Enid's doing okay. Mike?
Okay, so that's going to be Enid there. That line up there in northern Oklahoma is moving, which is really good. So that's Enid's gotten by here with getting about an inch of rain or so, which generally you can handle that. And the northern part of the line is moving. It's really a much different situation down to the west of Oklahoma City. So severe thunderstorm watches in blue, severe thunderstorm warnings in orange, tornado watch for southwestern Oklahoma, Hobart, Altus down through Frederick, and then on down into Beckham County as well. And many areas are under flash flood warnings, flash flood emergency down in southwest Oklahoma for basically historic water levels down in parts of Ouachita County, back down into northern Greer County, around Willow, Rocky, Sentinel, Cordell, that area there, historic water levels there with a flood emergency. And that part of the line there is not moving much at all. It is picking up and starting to push on out. The northern part of the line there you see is moving pretty decently now from west to east, and that's why about 1 inch rainfall totals up around Enid and up toward Medford and up toward Cherokee and out toward Fairview, inch and a half rainfall totals. Let's go over to max 3 and look at the rainfall amounts. Now these are computer estimates, so we can take this full. Take this map full. These are computer estimates. They tend to oftentimes underestimate just a little bit on max 3 the amount of rain that has fallen here. So you see some widespread 4-inch amounts, 5-inch amounts. Again, there's Willow. Here's Beckham County. South and east of Sayre, Retrop, Carter, Oklahoma, just to the north of Rocky and Sentinel, up into Dill City, up to near Cordell. You see some 4 to 5 inch totals. Keep in mind that is just in the past couple of hours down here. That's why there's a flood emergency down here for Ouachita and parts of northern Greer and eastern Beckham County. 4 to 5 inch amounts, and there may be local amounts even a little higher than that. So we're talking, potentially getting up there now. It's still raining of a half a foot of rain, just in about a 3-hour period down here in southwest Oklahoma. Here's Interstate 40 right here, Sayre, Elk City, Clinton right there, Weatherford right there, and then from there over into Canadian County. So those are rainfall, actual rainfall amounts based on radar down in southwestern Oklahoma. Let's go back over to max 1. So as we head here deeper into the evening, we'll see this activity push in from the southwest. I will say that the activity is not pushing toward the metro very much. It's making an effort to push more into the west and north metro. We'll see if that continues or not. Rain continues to increase, though, in Kingfisher County. We're getting some scattered showers developing with some brief heavy downpours in west Oklahoma City, eastern Canadian County, and far western Oklahoma County. So a few heavier thunderstorms are now starting to form here, which is in advance of the main line further on back to the west. Let's go back to Corey Inman out around Sentinel, Oklahoma. Flood emergencies out there. Chris McBee.
Yeah, Mike, I'm coming into Cordell right now. I'm driving through the leading edge of this rain. It is an absolute torrent. It is so hard to see down here. I can barely see 100 feet in front of me. I absolutely believe these flash flood emergencies. This is an amazing volume of water coming down, Mike. I'm going to go up to Cordell and get a little bit east. Get a little bit out ahead of this. But yeah, I would not be surprised at all if there are roads washed out in this area. It just keeps up much longer, Mike. This is very, very high rainfall rate. Back to you.
Okay, that is Chris McBee down there by Sentinel, Oklahoma. Back to radar. And we'll check in here with Jeremy Carter next. And you see the spray down there with exceptionally heavy rain. Back over to max 1. And we can show you, we're talking about this part of the state, Cordell back to Sentinel. Damaging winds, severe thunderstorm warnings coming in from Greer County and Beckham County back into Ouachita County, the bright green. Not much in the way of any mesocyclones out here. Pretty good gust front right here. Occasional areas of spin on that gust front, but nothing major in terms of any imminent tornadic activity. That's good, but it does have fresh inflow, so we have to watch that very carefully. We have a long row to hoe here as this activity only slowly coming out of southwestern Oklahoma into central Oklahoma, and here's the higher velocity wind there coming past Mangum and Willow right now to north of Hollis. So these storms are severe in southwestern Oklahoma. Here's the West Metro here. This activity lifting more to the north. So this activity out to the southwest is going to make an effort here to push toward Oklahoma City, but I can tell you, looking at it right now, it's going to be delayed here in terms of the heaviest rain. We're getting showers, pretty heavy rain showers forming now, but this main line is not pushing eastward very much at all. The computer models do show this comes out over central Oklahoma later this evening, but it's taking a long time for this to come out of southwestern Oklahoma. So flooding, again, is going to be the main threat on this as it gradually pushes into the metro, and also showers are forming out ahead of the main line right here. So the time of arrival here, it's looking a little bit later and later. If you're watching this at home or perhaps you're out and about, the latest time of arrival looking a little bit later here. Minco just after 10 o'clock, Yukon about 10:15, and Edmond around 10:30, Bethany around 10:30. Current time is 9 o'clock. So that's generally the time of arrival of the heavier rain, although showers, some heavy now forming in the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. Let's go back up to Corey up here in K County. There are areas of spin here on the gust front, little areas, bow echoes, and little efforting here at some gust front type tornadic activity, but nothing too organized, mainly just straight line wind. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm a mile east of 35 here, coming into Blackwell, and there are a couple of areas of spin right there on the leading edge, right over Highway 11 as it was crossing I-35. But they would spin up and try to spin down, and then they'd go away as soon as they did. But that's happened since back in the Medford area. There's still a lot of strong winds back in there, at least 50, 55, if not stronger. And a lot of very heavy rain moving into K County now in places that definitely don't need it, Mike.
Okay, that's Corey Inman for northern Oklahoma right now. At least that line up there is moving a fair amount, which is good news for sure. So we're under a flash flood watch here. There is a flood warning for the West Metro right now. And here's the broad view on Max 1. Basically, we're just looking at a slow progression here, folks, of flooding rain and some embedded severe storms, a lot of lightning. Hail sizes are not giant. The northern part of the state, the line is moving. The line in southwest Oklahoma now starting to pick up and move on out, but it's also moving much, much more slowly. Let's go over to the news desk. Guys?
All right, we want to get you up to date on some of the flooding activity that we've been talking about. Obviously, with the large amounts of rain coming through, specifically the western side of the state, that's going to result in some flooding right now.
Yes, right now. I know that a lot of these storms as are moving in, such as Kingfisher County, a lot of people there are already starting to get a little bit worried as most of that town is still underwater in parts. So I know that a lot of people there, residents, are keeping an eye out to make sure that everybody stays safe.
A lot of big rivers, a lot of big waterways through that area that already were experiencing flooding. A patch in southwest Oklahoma, specifically Mangum. Mangum had that big tornado on Monday. They are at the tail end of this huge system that's running through right now, and they are experiencing some very heavy rain, so much that they've had to close the intersection of U.S. Highway 283 and State Highway 34. That is closed. That is underwater right now. Once again, the far southwestern tip of Oklahoma is experiencing unbelievable amounts of rain. That's obviously going to lead to street flooding. That's going to lead to closures, and really a chance right now for motorists to stay off the roads, because you're going to get that overflow. You're going to get those unsafe roadways right now.
I know, and there's still a lot of people out today. I know some people are still going to graduation parties and that kind of thing. So if you are traveling anywhere on at least the western part of the state, moving towards the eastern part of the state, it is very crucial to be sure that you're staying weather aware and double checking and making sure that there is no storms in your area and that you have a safe place to go to. Exactly.
Definitely, you have to have a safe place to go to. So far, the storms have been not so severe. Hail is an issue with them at times. We're also getting a lot of road closures right now as we get more notes passed to them. Please keep an eye on us with your Facebook posts. Make sure that we know about any information that you want us to get across to our viewers, because we are relying on you guys as well to get us that information about road closures, about power failures, about situations that people need to keep an eye on, because, like I said, we have gotten so much rain over the last 2 weeks that there are a ton of waterways, there are a ton of lakes that are obviously over capacity, and they're very dangerous at this point.
Also, we're hearing right now in Burns Flat, most roads are flooded, some with 3 feet of water pouring in right now, and some homes are also threatened. So people in Burns Flat need to double take, make sure they have somewhere to go and be sure that they are staying out of this weather. I mean, it's crucial right now for sure. And then also back in Kingfisher County, was asking, emergency management was asking on their Facebook page earlier, asking residents that have experienced water in their home due to flooding or have been displaced to please go to their Facebook page and list their name, address, and phone number to that Kingfisher County Emergency Management Facebook page so they can get to you and make sure that you are safe. And also,
okay.
Yeah, again, like we were saying earlier, if people in Burns Flat, some are experiencing 3 feet of water there. If you guys are just now joining us, we're still checking to see how much water is impacting parts of the state as this storm system is moving in from the western part of the state closer to the eastern side.
And I'm being told in my ear right now, 2 things to pass along. We talk about Kingfisher getting a lot of rain. U.S. Highway 81 north of town, U.S. Highway 81 north of Kingfisher has been closed. A ton of water in that part of Oklahoma, and it continues right now. Those storms are even going to increase in the next couple hours. They've already closed U.S. Highway 81 north of Kingfisher. Also, Garfield County, 3 miles outside Fairmont, there is a tank battery that has flared up and exploded, and that is causing some problems there as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. But these are the kinds of things we're going to be seeing over the next couple hours as these torrential rains continue to come in from the west. They're going to be causing a whole lot of street flooding. They're going to be causing a whole lot of electrical issues as well. And the crews already stretched so thin because they've been working this entire week.
And that was one of the things that Kingfisher County posted on Facebook, saying, you know, we are so busy with everything going on, but of course everybody wants to make sure that everyone is staying safe. And we're told that that tank battery that exploded that you said in Garfield County, I guess that was hit by a lightning.
Lightning strike, yeah, and that makes sense. You've got a lot of electrical strikes with these storms. So far, no tornadic activity that has hit anything close to major, but you've got a lot of lightning strikes. You have some hail associated with those, but most importantly, it is the torrential rain. We've been hearing time and time again from our trackers that it is difficult to see on the roadways. That's obviously a concern, even if the roadway is not flooded. When you have that heavy of rainfall, it's hard to even make your way. And as it comes into the metro too, it's obviously a concern with the metro roadways, but when you get on the highways, you have those street lamps, you have that torrential rain. It is very difficult to see. I would say just don't get out there if you don't have to
No,
tonight.
exactly, and especially since it's gotten dark out. Right here, we're looking at one of the cameras here downtown, seeing that, you know, obviously it looks pretty clear here for right now, but that's going to change here pretty shortly as those storms from the west side move here over the metro. It's something to be very careful about, because I know some people, as we mentioned earlier, are still getting out and about and going to graduation parties.
It's a holiday weekend. There are a lot of people out and about. I know this is the first day of a 3-day weekend for a lot of people. They want to get out, they want to go to dinner, they want to have a good time. That might not be get your plans done early, get back home, especially if you're in the metro, if you're in the east side of the metro too. You've got a little extra time, but as these storms come in from the west, they're going to be coming slowly, but very heavy rain at this point.
And
so you
the last thing we need right now is more rain, especially with everything that's happened this week. And I know we've talked so much about heavy rain, and of course it's important to make sure that you have somewhere to go and that kind of thing. But also we've seen some homes that caught fire by being due to lightning strikes, that kind of thing as well. And that's just something that's
broken power lines by flooding, that kind of thing. Once again, a couple of things to pass your way. US 81 north of Kingfisher has been closed due to the excessive amount of rain. Also far southwestern Oklahoma, Mangum, US 283 and State Highway 34. That intersection has been closed. It's a big one down in the southwestern part of the state. Mangum, of course, one of the towns that had that large tornado outside of town on Monday. Thankfully, that didn't hit any populated places, but they've seen their fair share of weather already, and they're at the tail end of this. They have already seen a ton of rain come over, and like Mike has been talking about, that training effect that continues to pour massive amounts of rains in the exact same spot. It's just, it's tough.
Especially
it's very tough.
with the flooding that we've already been experiencing all across the state. I know just early this morning, the White House approved a request for state flood aid here in Oklahoma. There are 10 counties that have an emergency declaration for that. So it's just not good that we're getting this much rain all over again right here in our state. And some other, go ahead.
Well, I was going to list off some of those counties too, because a lot of people are worried about that aid as the flooding becomes an issue. You've got Haskell, Jay, LaFleur, Muskogee, Noble, Osage, Pawnee, Sequoia, Tulsa, and Wagner. A lot of those are in the northeastern part of the state, and obviously the flooding is a big concern up there. We were just seeing a live picture of Stillwater, the campus of Oklahoma State University, and of course Stillwater had their flooding concerns earlier in the week as well. There is more rain on the way for the folks in Stillwater as we take a look at that shot right now. So be prepared for massive amounts of rain in the north central parts of the state as well. Once again, these storms, they're doing a train from the southwest to the northeast part of the state. They haven't gotten past the I-35 corridor very much, but it's coming.
Yeah. And
it's
then,
coming.
I know we mentioned this earlier as well, but again, those people in Burns Flat or in that area are experiencing quite a bit of flooding right now. Most roads have been flooded, some with 3 feet of water, and many, I guess some homes are also threatened by this. So that's also something to keep, to really keep in the back of your mind, because with the amount of rain that we've had this week, it's really, really causing issues all across our entire state.
And we mentioned Garfield County too. Garfield County around Enid, Fairmont, the community of Fairmont, 3 miles outside of town. They had a electrical tank battery struck by lightning, causing power concerns in that part, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that. I have the bad feeling that we're going to be seeing that quite a bit as we move through the night. Of course, we're going to keep you up to date with the latest as far as the storm tracking comes. We've got our entire cadre of storm trackers out and about, and of course Mike is keeping us up to speed with the exact latest of what's going on with this large complex of storms that's moving through the state right now.
Well, I guess we're going to go over to Mark Dillard right now and get a look at what he's been up to.
There's Mike.
Oh, there's Mike.
And Mark's been a little busy, hasn't he? Past couple of days, past couple of weeks, in fact. Storm trackers putting in some gigantic days, as you might imagine. Oklahoma weather can be really tough sometimes, and it's been pretty much a nonstop deal since about the the last day of April, pretty much, right? So we are going to go to Mark Dillard here coming up. So we're looking at the latest weather data here. There might be an opportunity, perhaps, to possibly not get all the heaviest of the heavy rain into Oklahoma City. It might actually, some of the computer models are saying this big batch of rain back southwest weakens some. It doesn't go away, but it weakens some as it comes into Oklahoma City, right around the west side of town, about 10:30. Current time is 9:12. So around 10:30. So everything's slowing down. And the computer models basically are saying there's a chance that kind of rains out. Let's go back over to Max 1, and we'll go back over to Max 1 and show you that we have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect, the tornado watch for southwestern Oklahoma, and severe thunderstorm warnings, as you might imagine, are widespread. The northern part of the line is moving along, so rainfall rates are 1 to 2 inches as the line comes through parts of northern Oklahoma, which has held down some of the extreme flooding in the northern parts of our state. The flood-prone areas, yes, are going right back into flood in northern Oklahoma, but that part of the line is moving. Here's Oklahoma County right here. We're getting some showers forming right now, not a big deal there. Warm weather continues to feed into the line out to the west. And so the trend here has been for everything to be slower, right? If you're watching us, if you are out and about, we would encourage you to start, wrapping things up and going to where you want to go. We would not encourage being out there driving after this 10 to 10:30 hour, but we're just giving you the latest trends. You know how dynamic and changing Oklahoma weather is, and things do change from time to time. Things evolve from time to time, and the evolution and the change that we see right now, looking at the latest data during that short break we had right there, is that everything is slower coming toward Oklahoma City, and there is an opportunity. The window is definitely open for the western line to weaken a bit as it comes into Oklahoma City. Why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because we have a flood emergency out to the west with historic water levels. Out here in southwest Oklahoma, Ouachita County, down into far northwest Kiowa County, eastern Beckham County, down into Greer County, Burns Flat, 3-foot deep water. In other words, what's happening down here, right? The streams are totally full. It's still raining torrentially, so the stream basically is out of its bank. Any stream down here, any stream. The stream is out of its banks, and water levels are just rising as if you're in an inland lake. Think about that. That's pretty frightening. So these roads are all either impassable or closed down here, right, in many, many different locations. Let's check with our storm trackers. Basically an inland lake down here. Burns Flat, 3 feet of water being reported in some of the more flood-prone areas around Burns Flat. That just shows you that the streams are out of their banks so far that the water has no place to go, and it's basically an inland lake. That's why there's a flood emergency down here. Let's go to Chris McBee. Let's go to Jeremy Carter. And let's talk about that, southwestern Oklahoma. Guys, Chris?
Yeah, Mike, I am a little bit east of Cordell, southwest of Florida area. I'm still in the leading edge of this rain. Trying to get out ahead of it a little bit. I may go up towards the I-40 corridor here in a moment, just for better travel. I can tell you there are roads just east of Cordell that are underwater. Drive through some pretty large areas of standing water to get out where I am. So, excuse me, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those roads around Cordell are closed fairly soon. Absolutely pouring buckets in Cordell right now. But I'm trying to get a little bit east and get out ahead of this and position it to move closer to the metro. Mike, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Chris, thank you so much. Chris McBee. Jeremy Carter is going to be going to Burns Flat. He's very close to Burns Flat right now. That's where the flood emergency is. Again, not all of Burns Flat has 3 feet of water, but the flood-prone areas have 3 feet of water. So the little small streams and the runoff areas are 3 feet deep in the flooded areas of Burns Flat. Let's go to Jeremy Carter live down there in the flood emergency. Jeremy?
Yeah, Mike. So I'm over near the Colony area. With this kind of situation going on, I feel like it's probably going to be more important to get back in those flood-prone areas to kind of monitor the road situation, the network, in along I-40, back in Burns Flat, back also into Cordell. I'm going to take 40 back west and basically watching what's going on as I go through this monsoon rain, Mike. Back to you.
Okay, so let me show you something here, and if you have been with us for a while, we appreciate that, and we're glad that you are. Let's just really say that, because it is so important to stay up track on our weather. Okay, so let me show you what's happening here. There's a bit of a trend here starting to show what some of the computer models are showing. Now, I'm referencing the potential of extremely heavy rainfall totals for the metro. The leading edge of this line, which has not been moving very much, which has caused the flood emergency in southwest Oklahoma, right? The leading edge of this line, the colors are gradually getting a little less hot. The computer models say the leading edge of this line as it comes in, and this may or may not happen. This is the real hopeful scenario here, but there is a scenario showing up to that regard, so let's address it. The leading edge of this line, the colors are getting less hot, more of the oranges rather than the reds and purples. The leading edge continues to weaken as it comes into Caddo County, as it comes into Canadian County. So we get heavy rainfall, yes, but not the exceptionally heavy rainfall, and the models take it and back build the heaviest amount back down to Hobart, back down into southwest Oklahoma, and then it gradually weakens also. So we see this trend actually happening right now. So let's hope that trend continues. There's also a pretty good gust of wind here. There's a mid-level disturbance in the atmosphere. You see the red and the green. See how it's spinning? It's spinning counterclockwise. That's called a mesoscale vortex is what that's called. That is a mid-level disturbance in the atmosphere that is spinning on a broad scale, not a tight scale like a tornado, but on a broad scale over about a 20-mile area. But you see it spinning there, the red and the green. You see the rotation there near Weatherford and Clinton. That's actually coming down I-40 right now. You can get damaging winds with those, all right? So these storms are all severe. So back down to the southwest, a big line of gust front here with severe winds. So Hobart, Kiowa County, Godebo, Mountain View, Carnegie, back down to Altus, Lugert Lake, back down to Blair, north of Altus, northwest of Snyder, Oklahoma, west of Roosevelt. Severe thunderstorm warnings here, damaging winds. That extends back down to far northern and eastern sections of Harmon County, but that's the tail end of the line right there west of Altus. So here's that torrential rain. Let's go back over to Jeremy Carter. Jeremy Carter again, Mark Dillard coming up here next, guys, out around Burns Flat, that flood emergency down there. Jeremy?
All right, so Mike, I'm actually headed back north. I'm going to I-40 south of Weatherford, and I'm right in that circulation you're talking about, the high winds. I've just entered into this. We've got blinding rain. There might be some high winds. Actually, they can see a power flash too going north out of just west of Colony, past the Horn. But the winds are picking up. Blinding rain, Mike. I'm going to have to be real careful that these roads don't flood right before my very eyes. Back to you.
Okay, let's go back over to Max 1. And again, we're just looking at the trends here with you. The trend here is for the line to shift more to the southwest with the torrential rain. The leading edge of this line is weakening and has not made a lot of progress into the metro. So that's been a shift that the computer models have made over the past hour or so, and that would keep the huge amounts of rain out. It would keep them out of the metro area, all right? Now, the West Metro is under a flash flood warning, yes. We're still going to get a lot of rain. Let's be clear about that. However, the trend has been for this activity to back build with the heavier activity back to the south, and the leading edge continue to weaken. But the whole batch is pushing toward the metro here, and we're looking at that 10:30 to 11 o'clock time frame. It continues to slow down. So if you're watching us, maybe you're out enjoying yourselves tonight and you got the TV turned up, or you're watching us on maybe your mobile device, down here like this, right? So that's our trend, right? That we're just monitoring for you so you know what to expect. But we just want to tell you that we do believe as we head toward the later evening hours here, 10:30, 11, 11:30, midnight, it just would not be a good idea at all to be out and about. Let's go over to the news desk with more information, guys.
Well, if the travel concerns with the rain wasn't a problem, we actually have a vehicle fire that we've got to tell you about right now. The northbound lane of I-35 at Memorial. That is I-35 here in the metro, just north of town at Memorial, is closed. There's a vehicle on fire right now. Traffic is being diverted so that if you're heading north on I-35, which is not just people in the metro, people traveling all over the country taking I-35, that's going to be a huge concern. That rain will be coming into that area soon. So hopefully emergency crews can get that area cleared, because as the rain comes in, that's a whole other ball of wax there.
Right. We're also being told about some other highways that are being closed. State Highway 6 south of Retrobe, Oklahoma is currently closed due to flash flooding, and then also State Highway 34 and US 283 junction is also closed due to flash flooding. So already experiencing some very severe flooding happening in the state right now from
That's
this
exactly
line of
right.
storms.
Yeah, and that last one that you named off right there, that's in Mangum. That's the far southwest corner of what we are seeing from the storm right now. And it looks like Mangum is about to actually get out of the rain, and that's good news for them. They've already had a ton of rain tonight. They've had a ton of rain all week long. But once again, street flooding is happening there. They are closing some of their major highways. Also, I've got reports of street flooding already going on in the Guthrie area, because those storms are coming this far east, and Guthrie has already had a lot of rain, and they have definitely flood-prone areas in that Guthrie, especially downtown area. And I've got reports for some of my close friends that say that is going on right now. And Kingfisher, we've talked about already.
Yeah, we've got some more from Kingfisher right now. US 81 closed downtown to the north side of town at Kingfisher Creek. Also some other city streets on the north side of town, and several blocks of Highway 33 on the west side of the city are all closed due to severe flooding. So I know that Kingfisher has been dealing with a lot of flooding the last few days.
You are seeing these torrential sheets of rain coming down right now, and it's really causing some travel concerns for people right now. ODOT has put out their number once again. If you need to contact them by phone for the latest travel conditions, their number 844-4OK Highways. That's HWYS. The number 844-465 4997 for the latest road conditions. If you have information that we need to know to get out to our viewers, please get it to us as we can, because we want to keep people up to speed.
Right, and as Mike was saying earlier, that if you're here in the metro and you need to run some errands or something, you might not want to leave after 10:30, because
that's
anywhere here, that's when stuff is
in.
going to be right here in our metro.
Let's get back over to Mike right now in the Forewarned Storm Center. Mike.
Yeah, it looks like we've got to basically get it from where it is right now it looks like it ends at about 2:30 in the morning. So between now and 2:30, basically all of this has got to somehow get across central Oklahoma, but that's what it shows. That's the kind of the big picture, if you will. It's 9:30 now, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. So 4.5 hours between now and 4.5 hours later. We got to get all this. It's going to actually come across the metro area. But I will say, right, that the computer models are indicating that it may not come in as a giant, tremendous volume of water, all right? Just trying to make a differentiation between heavy rain, which will still be plenty bad, and what would be really, really bad, and that is that whole thing back to the west came on in. Let's go, though. Let's talk about the metro here for a while. We got our crews all fanned out, Northwest Metro, West Metro, Southwest Metro. Start you off with Mark Dillard up in Kingfisher County right now. Mark?
Yes, Mike. I spoke to one of the Kingfisher emergency management officials just a little bit ago, and he was just updating me on the closure areas. There's some areas on the north side of the city that have some water in the streets. And then, of course, this Highway 81 and Highway 33 situation. 81 is closed basically on the north side of downtown up to and just north of the Kingfisher Creek crossing for high water, which is now with the rain is going to curb level on Highway 81, especially up to the north here, where things start to drain off on the north side of the city. Also, Highway 33, there's a low spot there just west of downtown for a couple of blocks till you get out to the curve on 33 heading out of town that's closed as well. So the locals kind of know the spot up here, but I've seen a lot of people coming up 81 and they get to this intersection here at Roberts and US 81 on Main Street, and they're forced to turn around because the city has this shut down up here. So I just want to make a point to folks, just running around from town to town is not a good idea tonight. Because, or even in some parts of cities, because of the rain in low-lying areas. And then we're going to keep our eye on Stillwater as this pushes over. They've had an immense amount of rain as well in the last couple of days. So we're going to keep our eye on things here on the north side of the metro. Mike, back to you.
Okay, appreciate that. Aaron, check out that cell there just southwest of El Reno. Look at the velocity there on that boundary. So let's go ahead and go back to Max 1. So what we have here, we have a little wind shift line here now coming into the northwest metro right here. See that little subtle green line right there, slowly pushing to the southeast. So that's the dividing line between the cooler weather to the north and west from the atmosphere, which hasn't really been disturbed, the soupy, rich, muggy weather to the south and east. And you get right here on that boundary. Is there anything right there? Yeah, there's a notch here. So there's a notch here, and right there on that boundary, a little bit of a cell there going up right on that wind shift line. So this is what actually happened last night. Just to review last night, if you're watching us right around the 9 o'clock hour, the 9:30 hour, right? We had a big area of rain. Kingfisher had 3 inches of rain last night. Logan County had a ton of rain. And then it came down and it put out a little boundary, a little wind shift line. That wind shift line came down and settled in over central Oklahoma City at about 9:20 last night, this exact same time last night. And then a line came in from the west, and like that, right, you got a bunch of these gust front tornadoes. There was a fair amount of damage last night down in Mustang, not too far from Will Rogers Park. North of Mathis Brothers, up around 23rd Street and Portland Avenue, down in West Moore, southwest Oklahoma City. And so this is kind of similar right here. Now, the jet stream winds tonight are a fair amount weaker than they were last night. The jet stream's always changing its configuration and its intensity on a moment-by-moment basis. The jet stream's not as strong tonight as it was last night, but you see this little area here forming right on that wind shift line. As that wind shift line settles down into the metro, you got to watch that really carefully. Emily Sutton is in the Interceptor near El Reno right now. Emily?
Yes, Mike. We are looking exactly at the place that you're talking about. I see that little appendage on the radar. So we will be watching that as these storms approach the metro. Right now, Steve Pusateri and I are in El Reno, just off of Route 66. We know this is a very flood-prone area. Looking on Mesocyclone, had 6 to 7 inches of rain, actually more like 7 to 8 inches of rain within this past week. So any amount of rain from here on out could easily spark additional flooding. In fact, I'm expecting it as this main line moves through. So like we've been saying, hopefully folks will stay off the roads, not only because of that, but because of these brief spin-ups that can occur along the leading edge of these severe storms. And we saw that happen yesterday. You saw it a bunch today. We're calling it QLCS tornadoes. That's just the midterm for brief spin-ups along a line of severe storms. So we're going to be watching that as this severe storm approaches western sides of the metro. We're sitting here in El Reno, keeping a close eye on it. Mike?
So let's go to radar and show you where Emily is and where this little area here is spin. Emily's in El Reno right here. Little area spin there on the wind shift line there. Again, jet stream weaker tonight. Be a little bit more difficult to get these things to spin up as quickly like they did last night. Let me tell you, last night was impressive around 9:15, 9:30, and folks had fences blown down and there's shingle damage and some carports were destroyed. There were several little damage tracks in west central Oklahoma City down into West Moore and southwest Oklahoma City last night and far northwest Norman. For about a 20-minute period of time last night. Power flashes if you're watching us. So a little bit different tonight. However, we still have this little wind shift line coming in as the line approaches from the west. And Mark Dillard up here in Logan County. Corey Inman is also up here as well. Let's check with Corey here for Ponca City. Ponca City, of course, has had a lot of extensive flooding. Corey joins us now live up in Kay County.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just coming into the southwest side of Ponca City, and from I-35 all the way over to Ponca City, it's just a solid wall of water. Very heavy rainfall. visibility is down to about a quarter of a mile. So the flooding situation up here, unfortunately, is going to get a little bit worse tonight. We're going to get over here in some of these low-lying areas and see if we can't catch any flash flooding. But there's a tremendous amount of rain moving from Blackwell, Tonkawa over into Ponca City right now, Mike.
Okay. Cars stuck in the center median due to flooding at mile marker 66 near Hydro on Interstate 40. There's an what we call an MCV. There's a mid-level vortex near Weatherford right now, and the rainfall rates under that are going to be really high, and there's going to be damaging wind underneath that as well. Clinton's had winds over 55 miles an hour just in the past few minutes, so there's a lot of wind out there. Let's go to radar. A lot of blowing spray, a lot of high wind. Certainly a rough and tumble night out there. Very heavy rain now right at Guthrie, all the way up I-35, all the way through Perry, all the way through Blackwell, Tonkawa, and Ponca City. Let's go ahead and check back with Mark Dillard near Kingfisher again. Mark?
Yes, Mike, I'm in Kingfisher, and you're looking at running water here on the north side of downtown, and it's covering about, I'd say a quarter of the intersection here, but still a reminder that it's not going to take much to really get the stuff up and over curbs. We've kind of been in just really light rain here, Mike, throughout the majority of the event so far, because it's kind of pinwheeled around Kingfisher, so to speak, and has not really poured down with that heavy band of rain yet. Now it's coming in from the west finally, proceeding in, and then I'm keeping my eye on that area that you were talking about down by Hydro, and now moving toward Calumet along I-40. So El Reno, you'll be next down to our south, and Okarche as well. But they're worried about the continued flooding here in the Kingfisher area, Mike, as they really just cannot have any more rain. Back to you.
Okay, Corey Inman has power flashes up in Ponca City, K County. Let's go back to Corey up north. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm at Highland Avenue here on the west side of Ponca. Had 3 power flashes back to the west of Ponca City Airport. Looks like there was another one back there just now. It's raining so hard, Mike, I can't tell if there's anything back in there that's spun up or if maybe it's just the leading edge of the wind, but definitely had 3-4 power flashes back here just to the west of Ponca City Airport, Mike.
Okay, well, it's probably the wind, probably straight line wind. We don't see much in the way of any organized leading edge gust front type tornadic activity there, but power flashes giving you an idea of the intensity of the wind. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, really pretty heavy gust front there coming in to K County right now. Corey, again, that's to the west of the Ponca City Airport about 2 minutes ago, right?
Yeah, Mike, I'm right here at the south end of the airport right now, and that was about 2 minutes ago, and then there was one there when I was talking to you just a second ago. I haven't seen any since then as I'm coming up on the airport, the south end of the airport here. They were back to the west here, so if it was the wind, the leading edge of the wind should be getting to me just any time.
Okay, we're going to check back with you. Let's go to radar here and show that to you. Severe thunderstorm warnings up here. There's been a lot of 65 to 70 mile an hour winds on Max 1. And we can go up to K County here and show this to you. So the gust front from Ark City down to the east side of Newkirk, the leading edge of the high winds. Down through Ponca City, down to Marland, that's the leading edge of the high wind. Moving pretty quickly. That's going to keep the rainfall amounts down, at least some, in the inch of rain to an inch and a half of rain range, because it is moving, but also you're getting some damaging winds here. And bright red there, we're looking at 65 to 70, pretty common. So it's probably arcing power lines. Corey is over there at the Ponca City Airport, probably arcing power lines. The strongest winds are the brightest red. So you see them there running from central and west Ponca City to about the Ponca City Airport, up to Kildare, up to Newkirk, and then up to Ark City. So this is some 65 to 70. Go back to Corey Inman here quickly. Any more power flashes there, Corey?
I haven't seen any, Mike, since then, but that area is pretty open up there to the north of the airport. So we're coming into the west side of Ponca and track it up here to the north. You're probably right. That's probably the leading edge of the stronger winds there, just back to the west of the airport as it moved through there, Mike.
Okay, Corey, appreciate that. Let's go back over to the big view here and show you on the big view on Max 1. So the northern part of the line is moving. The southern and southwestern part of the line not moving nearly as much, but it is starting to pick up now and finally push out of Greer County and Beckham County. So that's the best news, although the flood emergency very much continues. Tons of high water, southwest Oklahoma. The models say this picks up and moves and basically comes across the metro here between 10:30 and 2 a.m. It also says that it weakens some from its current intensity. Whether or not that happens, we'll have to wait and see. But it does take this and picks it up and lifts it right across the metro between 10:30 and 2 a.m. in the morning. So you're looking at about a 3.5 hour period of a fair amount of rain, which is either going to be heavy rain with some heavy rainfall totals, or it's going to be very, very heavy rain and very high totals. It may be more the heavy and heavy. Let's hope it is. But we're still going to have tons of flooding, flood-prone areas at the minimum, right? At the minimum, we're going to have that. So lightning rates there, you saw the continuous lightning from Corey, back down to Perry, back down to Guthrie. Very heavy lightning, some high wind coming through Clinton and Weatherford right now. There's a mid-level disturbance in the atmosphere over Weatherford. There's high wind there. Lots of blowing spray, zero visibility. Mile marker 66 out by Hydro on I-40. Cars are stranded in the middle of Interstate 40 in high water. Cars are stranded. Mile marker 66 near Hydro and Bridgeport in northern Caddo County. Cars are in the center median in high water, stranded. That's what we don't want to see right here as this line comes on in. Let's go to Mark Dillard in Kingfisher County. Very heavy rain now, solid rain in Kingfisher water. Keeps coming up, Mark.
Yes, Mike, just kind of patrolling through the north side of downtown, northeast side of the city. And, you know, as I turn around and go back through areas I just drove through, the water is already starting to pool more and more as this final heavy rain band is finally pushing in. Kingfisher was in just a steady rain through most of this event so far as the leading edge pushed through roughly hour and a half ago. But now it's really starting to pick up with that heavy rain kind of moving in here. We've got areas with water pooling and crossing the road, not completely deep in the downtown area, but the roads are closed for flooding issues along Kingfisher Creek on Highway 81 north of downtown and Highway 33 in a low spot on the west side of downtown. And then there's several city street closures due to standing water from yesterday. So officials, city and county officials are assessing the situation, monitoring things on all sides of the city as far as the flooding situation goes. And we'll stay here and track it along with them. Back to you, Mike.
Nice job, Mark. 81 north of Kingfisher closed, 33 west of Kingfisher closed. Locals likely already know that. However, that is the situation right now in Kingfisher. They had over 3 inches of rain yesterday, solid rain coming in now. So we're going to get another easy inch to inch and a half to maybe 2 inches of rain in Kingfisher. Let's go to radar just to kind of take a look at that. And so solid rain now. Here's Guthrie. Here's Highway 33. Here's Kingfisher. Solid rain up and down 81. 81 closed north of Kingfisher. And rainfall rates here are about 1.5 inches to 2 inches per hour. So you'll pick up a quick inch and a half of rain in Kingfisher here. So high winds, severe thunderstorm warnings up here in K County. Corey had power flashes near the Ponca City Tonkawa Airport and also the Ponca City Municipal Airport. And then we still have this area filling in gradually here with a wind shift line slowly pushing into the northwest metro now, filling in with more solid rain. El Reno up 81 through the casino up to Okarche. And that storm there continues to slowly intensify. Emily Sutton is there in the Interceptor live.
Mike, I'm with Steve Pusateri in El Reno, and we are in Interceptor 4, so we have our 360-degree roof camera, which is pretty cool on a day like today, especially at night when you're trying to find the base of the cloud, which is only easy to see when it's illuminated. So right now this is our roof cam, and we are looking off to the west, southwest. I know earlier you were looking at that possible area of rotation. As of right now, we're watching this moving into western side to the metro. Flooding is going to be a huge concern, so really hoping that people are paying attention to the weather and staying off the roads as it moves into Oklahoma City. El Reno specifically, though, we are worried about flooding because of 7 to 8 inches of rain that fell. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on this one. This can evolve quickly, though, where you can see brief little spit-ups along the line like you've been talking about all day today. So an evolving situation. You definitely don't want to be out driving during it, and we'll be watching the West Metro. Mike?
There with a night vision camera there, the 360 mount there on the roof, really telling the story there for you folks in Canadian County. Let's go back to radar. And here is El Reno. This is where Emily is located, and the rain is filling in between El Reno and Okarche right now. Again, out by Bridgeport on mile marker 66. Cars are stranded in the center median in high water. Back down where the flood emergency is, the rain is clearing out of Beckham County. The rain is clearing out of most of Greer County. That's good, but water is reported to be 3 feet deep in parts of Burns Flat. Basically, it's an inland lake in Ouachita County right now with a flood emergency. We're estimating 6 inches of rain has fallen in about a 3-hour period down here. Let's go to Jeremy Carter. He's right down in that. Jeremy?
Yeah, Mike. So I'm on I-40. I'm almost to mile marker, I believe it was 66. You said where the cars were stranded. I'm getting close to the Clinton area, and I'm fixing to go back south and start working my way back towards Burns Flat. It's been blinding rain most of the way here. The rain has started to let up a little bit, but the water's still got a while. We just run it off and go where it's going. I'm back to you, Mike.
Let's go to the warning situation here on Max 1. Also, the hail size. You might be curious about how the hail's looking. This is all basically very small hail here. Peas and dimes. Peas and dimes. Now, back down on the very edge of that line, the very southwest edge of that line, there is a pocket there of golf ball or a little bit bigger, about maybe up to 2-inch diameter hail. Fairly localized area down by Altus Lugert Dam down in southwest Oklahoma. The yellow areas are under severe thunderstorm warnings ahead of that line, and a flood emergency for Ouachita, central and eastern Greer, and southeastern Beckham County. The highest water is up near and to the west and southwest of Cordell, Oklahoma, and the line extends back down to Blair down in southwest Oklahoma. Here's that mid-level spin. Dramatic presentation right there. Look at that spin there, just spinning away. This is a mid-level area of spin. It represents kind of a core of the main storm, and it's coming out of Weatherford. Underneath this, you can get torrential rainfall and a lot of spray and a lot of high wind. We've had a lot of high wind in Clinton and Weatherford, pretty rough and tumble out here underneath that mid-level vortex that extends to a gust front back down into parts of Kiowa County. That gust front racing out toward Cooperton and down toward Highway 62 at Snyder. High velocity winds there, some damaging straight line winds. That's why we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Let's go back over to the news desk.
Well, Mike, we want to get you up to speed on a couple of developing situations. We have 2 news situations we need to tell you about. First, I'll let you take this first one.
Yeah, first one, we do have a shooting that happened in the northeast 26th and Kelly area. I believe this is near the Heritage Park Apartments. From our understanding, I believe 4 people do have, more affected by this, do have gunshot wounds due to this. Chase Horn is there right now. Chase, please let us know what you have learned so far.
Yeah, Jacqueline, we just got here on scene. We're standing right next to the Christ Temple Community Church. I'm going to step out of the way here. You can see the scene behind me. Lots of cops and lots of medical personnel on scene. You can see a fire truck further on the back side of the scene. We haven't been able to speak with any officials yet, but right next to us, we did just see police put one male into handcuffs and into the back of the cruiser. Not sure if that's a suspect, a witness, or just a person of interest. Again, we really haven't had a chance to speak with any officials on scene just yet, so we're still trying to figure out exactly what happened here. Again, you said the report, a shooting, as reports of 4 people shot. We're going to see if we can't talk to someone and get back with you later in the newscast to know exactly what happened. But for now, live in Northeast Oklahoma City, Chase Horn, Oklahoma's News 4.
Thank you, Chase. I appreciate that. Like he just said, there were four people that have been affected by a shooting over in Northeast 26 and
Kelly, yeah.
Kelly.
Reportedly at the Heritage Point Apartments over there. Another news situation we need to get you up to speed on. This involves traffic on I-35, specifically northbound at Memorial Road. An exploded semi-tractor trailer on the roadway, closing off the northbound lanes of I-35. This is big. The flames have allegedly been batted down pretty nicely. However, traffic is still being diverted right now. The northbound lanes are closed. This is obviously a huge artery in the state. Lots of traffic, even on a Saturday night, going to be going through there. Reports of traffic being pushed back a mile from that accident. So right now, reports are crews are on the scene. They have the fire under control. However, they have to clear the roadway as well. And we've got the rain coming into the I-35 corridor as we speak right now. This is not a good situation.
Yeah, so if some of you guys are trying to get home, get away, to get out of these storms, that is something to take note of, is that semi-fire out there. So like you just said, 1 mile of traffic backed up at least a mile there. So it's something definitely to take note of.
Definitely need to get that taken care of as well. We'll keep you up to speed on all these situations. Let's get back to Mike in the Forewarned Storm Center right now for the latest on these storms as they continue to push west toward the metro.
Let's get you an overview here as to what we have going on right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings in northern Oklahoma and in southwest Oklahoma. And the batch of severe weather in southwest Oklahoma is trying to pick up and come toward the metro, although the trend continues to be for it to be very slow in that progress. Flood emergency down around Cordell and Burns Flat in southwest Oklahoma. Northern Oklahoma, the line's moving, but still dumping heavy rainfall rates here. But at least the line is moving. The line is just started to move down in southwest Oklahoma, and that batch of rain will have to come across. Will have to come across the metro between around 10:30 and around 2 a.m. in the morning. The rain should be ending in Oklahoma City at about 2:30 in the morning. So that's got to pick up and come across the metro. So yes, we are going to get a lot of rain here in Oklahoma City. Whether we get a lot or a huge amount remains to be seen. Lightning rates, a lot of lightning up north, tons of lightning down southwest. The only big hail is in southwestern Oklahoma. The only big hail is in southwest Oklahoma. These are all tremendous amount of rain producers and small hail, pea size, dime size. So right now, giant hail is not a major threat. Now northbound up toward Ponca City, let's go to flooding in the Ponca area with Corey Inman. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, this is on 14th Street here in Ponca City. You can see quite a bit of water running across the road here, and these cars just blasting through it. This is an area that's pretty prone to flash flooding right here in this low spot, and as much rain as we've got in here, this is only going to get worse. Hearing reports of South Avenue down around the Conoco refinery, there's water over South Avenue down there, so all of the low-lying places in Ponca City are going to have a lot of water over them here shortly, Mike.
Okay, Corey Inman up there in Ponca City monitoring. Keep in mind, as we all know, Ponca's had a lot of very severe flooding with Kaw Lake and the Chicaskia. Corey, if you could comment a bit on the Chicaskia, you being a local expert up there around the Ponca City area, talk about the Chicaskia for a moment.
Actually, Mike, yesterday evening, the Chicaskia was completely back inside its bank, so that was good. All of the flooding that happened there on the east and northeast sides of Blackwell had all receded. Like I said, the river was back in the bank. The Arkansas and the Salt Fork have kind of become the main issue, and especially the Arkansas on the southeast side of Ponca.
Okay, and I believe that Kaw Lake is about plus 35 right now, give or take.
Yeah, it's the last I saw it was 32. Wouldn't surprise me if it's up to 35. I know last night they were talking about shutting down 177 on the south end of Ponca for fear that the flooding was going to cross the levee there between Highway 60 and South Avenue. Storm chasing today, I haven't had a chance to go down there and actually take a look and see what's going on, but we'll try to go down that way and see how it looks down there, Mike.
Corey, of course, the problem, right, when you get to Kaw up there at plus 32 to plus 35, right, eventually the Corps of Engineers has to just dump water out to keep it from getting any higher. I can't recall Kaw being any higher than plus 35 ever. Can you recall that lake being any higher than it has been the past couple of days?
I will say this, Mike, the flooding that I saw last night on the south end of Ponca, where the Arkansas River comes in there behind the power plant, the water treatment plant there on the southeast end of town, I've never seen the water that high. It was maybe 5 feet from crossing 177, and there was water on both sides of 177 where it crossed in a lower section. but that's definitely the highest I've seen it.
Okay. Of course, all downstream from there, from Kaw Dam, is the Arkansas River, and then there is Keystone Lake, and they're dealing with an incremental flood situation downstream from Keystone Dam, down in places like Tulsa and Riverside Drive, down through Bixby and the casino down there. So it's all a big, basically, what goes in has got to go out. And more keeps coming in upstream, so more has to keep going out below Keystone Dam, which causes the Tulsa area, more severe problems. Corey, appreciate that. Let's go back over to radar here and show you. Here's northern Oklahoma. So the heavy rain is about ready to start pushing out of Ponca City. That's good because this line is pushing east, and the gust front now is moving into Osage County. Here's Oklahoma County. Light rain starting in Edmond, but a lot of rain continues to enhance up in Kingfisher and also Canadian County. Canadian and Kingfisher both under flash flood warnings. Mark Dillard is also up in Kingfisher. The rain's getting heavier there, Mark.
That's right, Mike. Just kind of patrolling through a few of the neighborhoods and the city streets, and then, of course, Highway 81 and Highway 33. Really starting to pick up curb deep flooding now as this rain really starts to pick up and push in. It had been just steady rain here off and on, but now we have areas where we have flowing water in city streets, Mike. This is just on the southwest side of downtown. We've got basically water going up and over the curbs now, flowing toward the creek on the north end of downtown, where Highway 81 is shut down. Highway 33 for a short span is shut down on the west side of downtown. So I'm going to monitor this area as the floodwaters really start to pick up. Mike, back to you.
So, Mark, the rain continues to just gradually, incrementally get heavier and heavier, pretty much.
Right. I had been watching it on radar, and it had basically kind of pinwheeled around Kingfisher, so to speak, with the heavier rain bands. But now this wall is finally pushing in with the real heavy rain that we had been watching from western Oklahoma, and it's coming down in buckets pretty much right now. And you're seeing that with the flooding in the city streets here in Kingfisher. City and county officials monitoring the situation, and they will, of course, push back and close more roads as need be. But right now, the main roads, Highway 81 north of town, is shut down, and a stretch of Highway 33 that you can still get around, but there's pockets that are going to really start to fill in with water here in Kingfisher. Back to you.
Okay, let's go back to radar here. So the trend here now is the heavy rain is now starting to push in to the north and all of the west metro, and it's gradually filling in. Little wind shift line continues to push into northwest Edmond down to about El Reno, and near that everything's starting to fill in with heavy rain, some cases pretty torrential rain. The western side of town here around El Reno, scattered heavy downpours are gradually filling in. This will be the trend. It will continue to do that, and that big batch of rain slowly now pushing in from the west. So this is the beginning of about the time, beginning in the west and north metro, where conditions will start to go downhill. Keep in mind the west and north metro, Kingfisher, Canadian County, under flash flood warnings, and everybody out to the west and the southwest. Emily Sutton is in El Reno in the Interceptor.
Interceptor 4, and it has been really interesting using our nighttime 360-degree roof cam of just watching the cloud bases earlier, although now that it's raining, it's on our little camera lens. But we are keeping a close eye on these storms as they approach the west metro. It is starting to rain here in El Reno, and I know El Reno will probably on edge given that we've had 6 to 8 inches of rain already this week. So we are bracing for flooding in this area. There's already a flood warning, and we'll see the heavier rain starting to pick up, possibly some strong winds, maybe some small hail. So we are just watching this closely, Mike, as it approaches the metro. I will tell you, a ton of lightning here so far.
So can you tell if that little wind shift line has come through yet? Do you have a light north wind or maybe a calm wind?
Just looking at the trees, I would say it's relatively calm right now.
Okay, Emily Sutton there from the Interceptor there on the western side of the metro in El Reno right now. Let's go back over to radar. We'll check back with Emily. So we have the rain filling in here with the flash flood warnings in effect. Her wind is currently light. The wind shift line now coming through. Back down to the southwest, here comes the big wall of water. This is connected to a mid-level disturbance in the atmosphere. Gust of wind here. This looks to be quite high wind. Very high wind here, severe thunderstorm warnings. Binger, Coger, Gracemont, Sickles, Anadarko, Luqueba, back down through Union City, Minco, Tuttle. So this is some high velocity wind right here, also some hail. So this is the beginning now. Some hail up to about almost quarter size near Carnegie. This is the beginning of this big push now, finally, of getting this southwest Oklahoma activity to come in to the Oklahoma City metro. Current time is 9:56. 9:56 in the evening. Pocket of golf ball size hail down on the very tail end of that line, which stretches down into far northern Jackson County near Blair, Oklahoma. And some golf ball size hail northeast of Blair, near and east of Altus Luger Dam down in southwest Oklahoma. But here's that mid-level spin in Blaine County now, west of Greenfield and Gary. That's important because underneath that, we've got blowing spray and a lot of high velocity wind, a lot of 50 to 60 and some 65 mile per hour winds. And that high wind extends down into Caddo County. This will be pushing toward the west metro here. It's finally started to pick up and now move toward Oklahoma City. So we're going to see the activity start to continue to pick up in the west and the northwest metro, and it's doing so right now. The wind velocities, the wind speeds have come down some, but torrential rain, of course, continues with a severe thunderstorm warning and a flash flood warning down in southwest Oklahoma and that flood emergency for parts of Ouachita County. Let's go to Chris McBee down in that part of the state. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, I'm west of Weatherford. I'm heading over towards the Clinton area where those cars are stranded that we heard about just a little while ago. The rainfall rates aren't quite as high where I am because I'm heading west. You know, I'm getting back behind where that leading edge is as it moves into the metro. So it's a little better going out here on I-40. It's not quite as hazardous as it was. You were talking about the mid-level disturbance coming through Weatherford earlier. I can tell you, I was coming up south from Weatherford getting very, very strong wind with those sheets of rain coming through. It was very dangerous there south of Weatherford for a little while, and that's all moving east. So definitely some high wind in that, Mike.
Okay, Chris McBee from near Weatherford. Chris, have you seen any problems with travel on 40 other than just awful conditions? What about maybe the flooding situation in the center median? Have you seen any cars stalled out? Anything to that effect?
I have not seen anything yet. I'm at mile marker 71, so I'm about 5 miles from where we heard about those cars that are stranded in the center median. I'm going to get there and look at the situation there, see how it's going now that the rain is receding a little bit, and see how that's doing there. But if I see anything, I will definitely let you know, Mike.
Okay, Chris McBee there. Let's go to Jeremy Carter, also in that part of the state. Jeremy?
Yeah, Mike, I'm actually past that situation with the car stranded on 40. It appeared to me that probably hydroplane got off into some deep water right in the middle. But I'm actually at the Boss exit, and I'm fixing to go back south into these farmlands, back and around the Burns Flat area, and I would have, of course, went straight west out of Cordell, but 152 had a report that it had 8 inches to a foot of water on it, I believe, and so I jumped up around 40 to go back. I'm probably about 6 miles, maybe 7 miles north of Burns Flat, and hopefully I get there and see what's going on and get a report out to everyone that has loved ones in the area. Back to you.
Okay, so that is a report there for the west central parts of the state. So we continue here, kind of backing out, looking at the broad view. Things are kind of starting to change now for the metro. Heavy rain starting to fill in, and that area of torrential rain in southwest Oklahoma is now starting to make progress toward Oklahoma City. So here it is, 10 o'clock, and we're going to see the conditions start to go down pretty quickly in the west and north metro. They're doing so right now. Flooding is increasing also in Kingfisher, and Emily is out on the Interceptor out there on the western side of the metro near El Reno right now. Kevin Josephy also near Piedmont. We'll check in with him. So the line in northern Oklahoma is moving along. A lot of lightning, severe thunderstorm warnings all along that line. Severe thunderstorm warnings in southwestern Oklahoma, and torrential rain with flood warnings, not only in Canadian and Kingfisher County, but everybody back down to the southwest and everybody up to the north as well. Flash flood warnings there. Here's Logan County. See the rain now starting to pick up in North Edmond. It's moderate rain currently, moderately heavy in Guthrie. Total wall of water from Guthrie through Perry, and then Perry up into Kay County. Let's check back with Corey Inman, then we'll work down the line. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, I'm here in the south end of Ponca City driving around the areas that are known for flash flooding, and there's You can see I'm coming across an area here where there's quite a bit of water crossing the road. This is all running downhill here to this little creek, but there are several areas throughout Ponca City where we've got 4 to 5 inches of water crossing the road. Quite a lot, and hopefully the heavier rain has moved out, and we're just down to a light rain here in Ponca City now, Mike.
That's good news for sure. Let's go to Mark Dillard, check in with Kingfisher here. Rain continues to get heavy there. Mark?
Like you're watching a vehicle drive into the water that's now pooling underneath the railroad overpass just on the east side of downtown on Highway 33. Now, large pickups are probably still have enough clearance to make it, but not for long, because we saw this last night where the water starts to pour over the curb here at the top on either end of the overpass area, and it pools down into the basically the very bottom of the overpass and starts to rise the water level. I've been watching this for about an hour now, and we finally started to get enough street flooding on top of either side of the overpass to start really filling in. It's just cascading over the edge here. We saw this last night. This happens quite often here in Kingfisher. When they get an immense amount of rain, these areas start to fill up and flood, and we've got city streets going curb to curb flooding, and that's just channeling down to these lower areas. So I advise folks, they don't need to be getting out in Kingfisher. There's going to be some areas that if they haven't closed, they might close pretty quickly. We've got Highway 81 on the north side of downtown, and we've got Highway 33 on the west side of downtown in areas, just a short area there on the west side of downtown that's closed due to high water. And then we've got pockets of the city here that are still in flood that they've got blocked off as well. So you're watching the immense rain come down here in the Kingfisher.
You know, Mark, it's incredible. You're showing us this exact view yesterday with Emily at about, 6:30 yesterday. Virtually an identical view. In fact, this is right where you were with identical water there in Kingfisher. It's incredible how much rain continues to fall.
Yes, and in an area that had had plenty of rain in the prior days. I believe you were saying earlier, upwards of half a year's amount in 2 weeks in the Kingfisher area. So it's just the areas that don't need any more rain. Of course, Ponca is dealing with it. Stillwater's getting a good amount of rain tonight. Just these areas of poor flooding around creeks and larger creeks and rivers that really don't need it. I'm sure the Cimarron's going to be bank-to-bank full with this runoff as well. So those folks down toward Twin Lakes going to be dealing with more bank erosion as well. Mike, back to you.
Yeah, 20-day rainfall total, 16 in Kingfisher, 16 inches. So the past 20 days in Kingfisher, so the past 3 weeks. Pawnee's had 20 inches of rain in the past 3 weeks, and northern Logan counties had 18 to 20 inches of rain. Parts of Garfield County, 16 inches of rain. Parts of Noble County, 17 to 18 inches of rain in the past 3 weeks. Parts of Kay County, 17 to 18 inches of rain just in the past 3 weeks. That is half a year's total in just a little under 3 weeks' time. Really amazing. Rain is really picking up here. Let's go out to the west side of the metro with Emily in El Reno, on the edge of that heavy rain right now.
Yes, Mike, the rain's starting to pick up here, getting concerned about that flooding threat. What we're doing right now is we are actually going to drop south on 81 and head towards Minco. We see that Boeing line segment out to the west and could have some damaging straight line winds with it. This kind of happened yesterday, too, where we had the winds bowing out, and then sure enough, there were some brief spin-ups as it moved into the metro. So we're going to be dropping south. El Reno, the rain's just starting to pick up, so probably a good idea to head home if you can, stay off the roads, because I'm sure things will start flooding here quickly. Mike?
Emily Sutton there between Union City and El Reno in Interceptor 4. Let's go back over to radar. So it's all filling in here. Here comes this mid-level spin. Look how there's a donut hole. See the donut hole right there? Donut hole southwest of Greenfield right there. This is a mid-level piece of energy. On the south of that, we're getting some damaging winds, and that's going to be enhancing the storms and rain in Oklahoma City. So here it is now, 10:05. So pretty much in this 10:30 to 2 a.m. 10:30 to 2 a.m. time frame. A couple of heavy rain showers forming between South Oklahoma City and downtown right now, just now beginning, and that heavy rain from El Reno up Highway 81. And here comes that area of wind here. This is damaging wind. Severe thunderstorm warnings ahead of that. Seeing some ground truth here on Mesonet over 50. We're showing inbound velocities a lot higher than that. And then some hail here, some dimes and nickels, and some quarters to almost golf balls down near Roosevelt in southwestern Oklahoma. So the hail not all that big. It's the flooding rainfall, by far the biggest threat, and lots of lightning and some damaging wind. But the hail's not giant. The biggest hail's down in southwest Oklahoma, northwest of Roosevelt right now. So here's the West Metro. Here's that high wind here coming in. 50 to 60 there looks quite common. There's also a wind shift line that's going to be a focal point of a little more wind shear down at low levels. So we have to watch that very carefully. It might could enhance the potential of a couple of little spin ups, but the jet stream is not as strong. It's not as strong as it was this time yesterday when we had quite a few of those little spin ups in the metro at around 9:15 to 9:30 last night. So it's all pushing to the northeast. So this wall of water is going to be moving into the metro. The computer models do say it weakens a bit as it comes on in, kind of breaks in two, and it's doing so right now. The back part kind of stays in southwest Oklahoma. The lead part comes on out, and we wind up getting around 2 to 3 inches of rain in Oklahoma City, which is a lot better than 5 or 6. So let's hope that is indeed the case. But heavy rainfall, no doubt, is going to be moving into Oklahoma City here right around that 10:30 hour, and it's already doing so on the northwest side of the town there. Yukon at 10:30, Edmond around 10:50 when the heavier rain will start to push on in. Again, northern Oklahoma, there's that activity pushing on in. Let's go back to our team of trackers. Kevin Josephy, I think, is in Piedmont, the northwest metro. Kevin?
That's right, Mike. I am at the intersection of Highway 4 and Northwest Expressway, about 2 miles south of Piedmont, and watching this storm as it progresses into the metro area. I just want to remind people just some areas that do flood when we do get these heavy rains. You've got the Penn Memorial area just south of the Kilpatrick there. You got Southeast 15th and High just to the west of there that floods. In Edmond, you have 15th Street and Kelly just to the north of there. There's right at that intersection, there's a really low spot that tends to go into flood a lot right there. Anywhere during the Lightning Creek area down on the south side of the metro, right in the heart of the city, people know those areas that flood. So you got to keep that in mind if you're still out and about or about to leave. Maybe perhaps you should have left a long time ago to just stay out of this stuff as it comes in. But I'll keep tracking it as it pushes further to the east, Mike, into the metro area, and report on any flooding that I come across. Back to you.
Okay, Kevin Josephy there in Piedmont. Let's go over to the news desk here with an update, guys.
All right, Mike, we appreciate it. We're going to continue to track these storms as they go across the state from west to east, but there is a developing news situation we need to get you up to speed on right now.
That's right. Right here in the metro, Oklahoma City police are on the scene of a shooting near Northeast 26th and Kelly. I believe this happened shortly after 9 o'clock. And News 4's Chase Horn has been out there gathering all the details on this for us. Chase.
Yeah, Brent, Jacqueline, just after 9, police tell me a full-size green SUV was driving around down Kelly. There was a group of people standing in front of the store. Here behind me, I'm going to step out of the way so you can see that. Police still interviewing witnesses out there. When police say the green SUV passenger side window rolled down and started shooting, they said there might have been at least 2 shooters. They aren't sure about this point. Police tell us that 5 people were shot. 4 were immediately transported to the hospital. They believe the 5th person has been transported since then. Everyone is in stable condition. I spoke with a witness earlier today, and this is what he had to say.
They took everybody out the store, so whatever infractions happened took place in the store.
All right.
And so I see them dropping markers on the street. So first thing they said it was a drive.